Welcome back to the NACE Star League studio, and tonight we have got a whole bunch lined up for you. The top games and the final games as far as Valorant is concerned. We've got the grand finals in NACE Star League Varsity Premier and Open Premier. A champion will be crowned in both divisions tonight. I'm your host, Jacob Palmer. I'm joined by Greg Smith to call all of the action. And Greg, tell us a little bit about who we can expect to be seen tonight, because in a lot of ways, there are a lot of unexpected shows here tonight for the grand finals.
That's true. I mean, I'll start off with the varsity division because that's the game we're going to be jumping right into. And welcome to the grand finals. This is it, the final two teams. One of them will be crowned the great victor tonight. We have got the Saints against West Virginia. West Virginia took an unexpected forfeit win, so we haven't got to see them play in the last round. We're looking forward to seeing them jump into this one to see what they've got to prepare against our players on the Saints tonight, who have been on quite a bit of a roll on through the ranks, and we expected them to be here tonight. Next on the schedule, it's Ball State against Central Florida, and that'll be an exciting one too, but that's not till we finish up the Valorant Varsity Showdown and Grand Finals.
Yeah, Ball State was a huge breakout performance in the Open Division. They went against #1 seeded Northwood, and you've been watching over the past few days. You know that Northwood took home the championship in Rocket League and Overwatch, but it was #5 seeded Ball State that actually beat them to get here to the grand final. So I'm really looking forward to the Open Division. Meanwhile, for the Varsity Division, one thing I remember is we had an interview with St. Clair earlier. They said they really wanted to face Maryville. Everyone else they considered just in the way. Well, we'll see what West Virginia has to say about that as we're ready to head into the finals. For St. Clair, it's going to be Q, Seft, Giza, Smiley, and Instinct.
And on the side of West Virginia, we're looking at Boltsy, Taze, Dink, Jay Chronic, and Enix.
And in terms of the map selection that we've got going on, I can think of no better map for a grand final, a pure test of skill, than good old Ascent, where St. Clair, it will be attacking first. Then we'll move on to Lotus, another very common stage that we've seen. And then should it go to a Game 3, Split has decided to join the conversation, not Haven. I was thinking that was probably going to be the pick, but St. Clair banned that one, took it away from West Virginia. So we haven't seen Split too much this season, but it might play a crucial role in the grand finals.
Yeah, a crucial role indeed, considering those first two maps are quintessential of the season. All of the 2023 matches we've seen have been back-to-back Lotus and back-to-back Haven and back-to-back Ascent. So it'll be fun to have that little bit of a dice roll, a little bit of an ace-up-the-sleeve pick maybe coming out of Split in the third game if we get there. But it could be a long battle for either of these teams, if not both, to get to that third stage.
Now, the one thing about Ascent is because it is the most played and a lot of players have the strategies down pat, is we tend to see a lot of mirror matches on it. And there are certain choices that you just got to go with. On the Sentinel, you got to go the KJ. It's just the standard typical. We usually see a Jet be brought out there as well. It's just almost every single time a mirror match is brought out. And I think in a game that has stakes as big as this to crown the champion, no team's really going to want to have a huge gamble.
That's true. I mean, you don't want to waver from what works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So give that Odin to the Sova and get right in there. Ascent is known by us, at least, for being the map of maps where a lot of things are kind of fair and kind of balanced. We'll see a little bit of a representation of everything, and every team has gotten to showcase exactly how they play this map. So there's plenty of footage for either of these teams to dive on into and prep themselves for this game.
Another interesting thing about this game is this is the sole varsity premier game that is not being decided at the in-person LAN taking place this weekend at the Boise State Esports Arena. This one's happening online, so the only varsity tournament that will be ended right here, right now, Wednesday, and one team will walk away. It's either going to be the Saints or the Mountaineers, and I find Mountaineers a little interesting. We were talking a little bit earlier, you know, West Virginia in the Appalachian Mountains as well, but no teams really in the Rocky Mountains, you know, the bigger mountain range that have taken advantage of that theming.
Yeah, a lot of times. I mean, you've got the Rockies, and the naming conventions of these teams have been really exciting. We've got some real quirky ones out there, and it's fun to dive into a little bit of every team's history and see what they've got going on and where the origins of these names come from. So it will be the Mountaineers against the St. Clair Saints, who scout a beautiful griffin, I believe, on their crest. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's also fun. I love when the mascots line up.
And it's
like
also
that.
an international match, if you think about it.
It
St.
is.
Clair coming to us from Canada, whereas West Virginia is representing the States. So we've got a good old regional rivalry playing out before us. One country will take home the gold. Who is going to be atop that podium? Let's see. And oh my goodness, we were talking all about the mirror matchups, but I am not seeing a KJ locked in here.
Yeah.
For West Virginia, they are going with a Cypher instead.
It's quite interesting. I mean, if I'm going to put a Cypher on a stage, I'd definitely like to put him on this one.
Both teams are still going to go with the double initiator comp, but my goodness, KJ has just been such an anchor in a sense.
Yeah, such a good producer, and I mean, not even just on Ascent, but in the next match, Lotus, we see KJ being picked time and time again. Here it is, West Virginia against the St. Clair Saints to finish off the Valorant varsity season. Either Windsor, Canada, or America will take it home.
Jumping in, St. Clair will be in the blue, defending first. West Virginia on attack. We'll get the first opportunity to see what sort of purchases and loadouts. A lot of people favoring the Ghost, but also a good bit on the side of, a good amount of players on the side of West Virginia are just deciding to go for the shields and the utility.
I mean, we're not even seeing that much utility, though. A lot of SEC still holding on to most of their creds. They could just be considering the situation as we approach that real zero.
Maybe they are just that confident. Things will start out with the Silver Dart held. Doesn't want to get pinged off of it. Can't take it out, but it'll wear out naturally. Slowly making their way up toward mid-market. It is smoked off. It's a rather forceful push by West Virginia.
Yeah, a strong and exciting hold on the defense as well. I mean, they were just chomping at the bylines, looking to get on and into the game, and a little bit of action in tree while a few rotate back around through mid and reconsider their options on B as they walk around the catwalk to A. It's going to be first contact here coming from SF.
Both teams are showing proper respect here. It's been 30 seconds. We haven't made any eye contact thus far between two agents. Presence will be detected, though, by that knife. Will be suppressed. Taze has to know he's there if the team's called it out. They'll smoke off heaven, get the spike down, but still no one has fallen. As soon as I say that, Seth will get the first one on the board, taking out Taze. Up next, Jinx will be eliminated. Now there's only 2 left for West Virginia in the post plant. Make it 1. Wow, Chronic comes right in with a double. Wants to try to keep things going. I mean, in that situation, a 1v5, walking away with a double isn't the worst thing in the world. But the top dogs, the #1 seed, St. Clair, take round 1.
Yeah, and I mean, Jay Chronic really proved a point. It wasn't just taking 2 and doing a little bit of damage. It had to be a clean sweep from the defense to not make any errors, and they left 1 bug alive and their eradication there, and it cost them 2 of their teammates. I mean, 20% of your team fell to 1 guy still standing in wine, way backed off of the plant. So they're going to have nice, clean sweeps if they want to keep up with this style of play. And by that, I mean, a lot of times on the gun rounds, especially when they've got creds in the bank and they haven't even bought a lot of util, they want to go flying in. We're lucky we didn't see Frenzies purchased. Here is more of the energy that I was expecting on first round. Spike has already dropped in a main. That kind of shakes the win con up a little bit. We see everyone flocking on over to sit right down on it. 33 health, and he still stays strong. Instinct holding right in front. Oh, the jump peek over that one-way smoke is a bold call, but it got him a kill as Chronic finds another and is working his way to the top of the frag board on round 2. SF trying to hold from a distance and set up a little bit of a cross angle, make that spike harder to get. But it has been received. Now, their options are thin with only 3 players on the offense.
And I'm still questioning West Virginia not respecting that one-way smoke. I mean, not what I would have done in that situation, but West Virginia, by bringing out the Cypher, might try some unorthodox strategies to try to maybe throw the Saints off. Team will throw out the blind around the corner, trying to blind off Cypher. He will detect that Cypher with the knife. Peeks out around with the knife, doesn't bait out a shot from Taze, but they both know they're there. Looking away at the wrong moment, will take a bit of dink damage. Down to 25. No flank coming out, and Stevens will have his attention distracted so Taze can get him in the back. Chronic picks up 1 with the Marshall, and now it's down to 1v2. And it's this same Sova who managed to pick up a double in a 5v1, so this could very well... I spoke too soon. St. Clair takes it.
Though, a damaging round considering that you're just setting up a bonus there to take 3 players. I mean, it's been a good fight from West Virginia. I think that tree battle, I'd like to analyze for a little bit longer, as one player dumped nearly their entire utility kit. I mean, everything they did have, they threw at him. The knife, and they used a pop flash, and they were jiggle peeking from left, jumped over to the right. And then we watch from the other angle, and we're getting kind of blind peeks, and they're checking over their shoulder to places opponents won't be, and it feels just like a little bit more messy, and they're going to have to clean that up if these 1v1s want to shake out in the right way.
St. Clair only is 2 guns away from West Virginia. Virginia has all rifles, but since 3 went down, St. Clair, I think, could still pull this off and go 3-0 overall. A little bit of pre-fire through the smoke. Doesn't pick up anyone or anything. The Jet dashes in under the cover. Should have seen Jet's hair moving by through generator. Tase, and look at this KO coming in with the wall bang double. Is going to be putting it to a 2-1 St. Clair trailing.
Yeah, Enox doing quite a bit of the grunt work here now. St. Clair only 1 player left, and they've made their presence very obvious. They're going to be coming in from heaven, and there is a beautiful 50-50 setup on Hell. They're going to have to flash their way out of here with maybe an updraft and a coast over to the other side of Jenny to make it through here, or they can just drop down and gamble on a player, hoping the other one won't find them before they can trade. Setting up some one-way smokes, maybe even just a frontal smoke. Ooh,
but the Sofa also used the smoke too. Under the cover, the smoke moves over to this other angle. Is able to take out. Didn't even need to use the double peek at the end there, but that'll be a crucial victory for West Virginia. The one that they should have expected, but now St. Clair is going to have the opportunity to be at full strength, and what I'm most afraid of from St. Clair is Instinct went with that Marshall in round 2. So that means he's thinking op. So he's probably going to save here so that he can buy an op as soon as he can. And once that happens, ooh, I have very big concerns for the Mountaineers.
Yeah, and oh man, look at the cred differential that West Virginia's dealing with. They've got, their 3 top players are in the trenches and having to scrape by the hundreds in credits with only light shields. Meanwhile, the other 2 are holding on to several grand and full shields.
Yeah, if you're not winning by big margins, you can take out a lot of rounds, but just be scraping by credits-wise.
That's very true. Boltsy peering from above, hoping he catches a defense that gets a little bit eager to find some contact. Much the same from their Sova on the other side. In fact, the whole offense coming from West Virginia is willing to wait patiently by and let the contact come to them. It's not on their clock, though, so in about 20 seconds here, they'll have to do something. SF getting that first contact, not going to find much other than a sheriff shot to the air. But that is a reconstruction of the defense as they fall back a little bit, start to respect this push coming in from B main. Enox taking in those first fires, that first contact.
Oh, Seth with a nasty angle inside spawn takes out Enox. And they aren't able to trade it back. The gap is only going to get wider against the Mountaineers. Now it's 5-2. Peek around through Fish Market. A head tap by Q. And once again, it's Jay Chronic trying to bring his team back. He managed to trade 1 for 1, but I don't know how much more he can do. The best he has is a double. And I like this smart play. He's not going to even risk taking that. He knows he can get the extra credits by planting, so he'll just move over to A and take the sure thing.
Oh, Seth is on the hunt for a full house. The plant goes down, and Chronic, the last man alive, has got an army to face. Seth is low health, but would love to find his double here.
Not ready yet.
They've got to be nice and slow and set everything up for the info. Letting Q drop a dart. Is not going to find anything, but it also does not get... Ooh, and that is a clean one from Giza. Coming in from the other side, a beautiful pinch is going to make this an easy defuse. The St. Clair Saints bringing them up to 0.3 against the 1. They didn't get 3 in a row. This is the typical 2-1 that we find off of the bonus, and they just happen to take the gun round. So it's not out for West Virginia, but it is sliding downhill slowly here. This does give them a chance to have a light save, a light buy, maybe. They're a little bit on the fence here with Eco, honestly. but after this, they'll definitely have a strong round.
And here we go. Instinct has an op, and West Virginia in the last round was certainly playing as if Instinct already had the op. They weren't taking any peeks whatsoever
Yeah,
for 30
that's
seconds.
true.
They were just standing still, waiting for St. Clair to peek out through. But this could be oh, they're going to smoke off mid, so he can't get the snipe through there. But the op didn't sound off, so they might not still know that Instinct has it.
And this is what full gun Valorant feels like. Look at all this vision denial. Nobody gets to see anything. Jay Chronic finds one cheekily. Boltsy gonna grab one in Instinct from a distance, makes sound his op, and it is all known. Now all of China knows you're here. The recon bolt is gonna find Q and kick him out of the tree.
Oh, that's...
Oh, on his return, he's got quite a bit of work to do with Giza. Instinct from the side. Oh, and a beautiful shot. What a lineup gets
nice.
one. Goes greedy for another, but they're already taken by Giza. The back and forth. Dinks now sitting on top of the spike. Just has to burn out this clock, working together with Jay Chronic to hold things together, but the flick is on point. He finds one, lends it off to Q. Can Q pull it together? Oh my goodness, he's gonna try to stick to the half. No, changes his mind. Going up against Jay Chronic, he finds it. Just with a shot to the thigh, bringing down a very low health Jay Chronic. Now it's scary, but he's gonna stick it. With 6 seconds left on the clock, defenders take a 4th point. What a snowball coming out here.
Oh, barely at the very end manages to get that op back. Nice job by Q. I was thinking that West Virginia would probably take that because they had a 4-on-3, but one of them was holding the op, and you always get into that awkward situation where we're already behind, you know, I can't really engage too much with the op. You know,
true.
I can watch angles for them to peek through, but I don't want to be running head first and losing such an expensive gun. So the fact that St. Clair managed to keep hands on that op, give Instinct some more time to get his initial picks in the round, is going to be huge. He's already looking through mid. And if this Omen peeks out, oh, it's not even going to be him, it's going to be Dinks. Takes out the other jet. Inox taking a close angle.
Man.
That is thwarted immediately, and the spike is dropped right there. A disastrous outcome. They can just watch over that as much as they please now. Taze could stay in that fish market all this time. I don't really think with what he has, he can beat all these cross angles they're setting up in mid.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really protect the president there. We had 2 people on top of that op, and even with good timing off the op shots, trying to get in and get absolutely melee with these eco round, you just can't find it with SF and Steven standing right around his shoulders. So his wingmen really carried him to victory here, and Q can take the final shot on a Taze. I will say, West Virginia did gather their ducks into one place with that round, and this round, hopefully, they'll be able to line them up. It was a big eco for them. Each person took a sheriff, and I didn't see how many shields they got. Looks like light shields here. So they're really ready to roll the bank out and scramble together for a round which could earn them an op. But it is coming into 0.6. I mean, halfway to the half, and they've only found 1 point.
Flash thrown out above fish. He blinds himself, unfortunately, to it, and is taken out immediately by Instinct. Things are going from bad to worse for the Mountaineers.
Instinct looking through the smokes, trying to time things. Enox times out, unfortunately, as players fight in another neck of the woods, though defense is thin on A, and it's SF from a wide angle, now being aided by the company. Q
Spike down A.
also proving value with the op. The Clairs are a menacing team.
Handed it off to him and said, you go get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's so good to be on a strong enough team where you have several players that are comfortable with it. Giza grabs another one and sweeps all the intruders right on out of A sight as they sit atop the spike, and SF finds one last down to bring it up to 0.6. They've secured a fair half in terms now.
And I was just about to say, I think I think a timeout needs to be called by West Virginia.
That's true.
Especially because in those last 2 rounds they lost, I'm seeing a lot of very early peaks being taken by the Mountaineers. We saw that the KO was the first one to be taken out last round, and really no one was going to be going up against that opping Jet to try to revive the KO. That's just never going to work out in your favor.
Yeah,
so.
they're doing a lot of things that I like, but there's definitely a moment where you have to slow down and think about exactly what's going on. And it may be that none of the players made that call. The person that called the timeout was, it looks like one of the coaches. So it could be them imparting some brilliant wisdom. It could be them just saying slow down. Going melee on the op when there's clearly 4 other people on defense might not be the chief among ideas. So take a breather and start sliding into the second half of the first half. And try to find yourself an even 6 points to get out of here alive.
So many players in the NACE Star League, so many teams are lucky to have one Radiant player on their team, and West Virginia is one of those lucky few teams that does have a player that is Radiant. The problem is St. Clair is so above the rest of the pack in terms of ratings. They have multiple Radiants on their team, so it is a really huge David versus Goliath situation here. West Virginia wasn't expected to get this far in the finals. We were all kind of just already had passively accepted a Maryville versus St. Clair match.
I mean, St. Clair had actively accepted it, and they were, in fact, quite cocky about their game plans to play against Maryville. It sounds like they're going to have to wait until 24 if they want a chance to do so.
Just maybe if West Virginia has their way, and Inox already picks up. And it's against the Jet as well.
Ooh!
Oh, but
strong
Q,
push.
that is such great crosshair placement. Lines it up and knocks him down.
The timing is just right there. Dinks hiding in the corner looking to find one, but they know exactly where he's at. A quick power crouch stab from Steven is going to knock him out, bringing them in to the next point.
Q's going absolutely insane on the KDA, up to 15, and it's not even halftime yet. We're quite a ways off from halftime, actually. Still a good number of rounds to go. So, there are whole games that go by, and I see a player that's doing well in KDA is up in the 20s.
Right.
Q's going to do that in the first half.
Unreal.
Starting off the next round, Instinct back on the op. Peeks through there, they'll get smoked off. Instinct will move up slowly through the smoke, try to take an angle they're not expecting. Problem is that barrel is so long he could give himself away if he's facing the wrong direction.
It is, and the fight or flight response to move forward instead of fall back with the op under smoke is a little scary, because the idea behind the op is that you're in a safe place after you fire, because there's a big cooldown. So having to run through an entire smoke from which you can't see and they can still fire through, it's a bold move. So it looks like it doesn't go through all the way, and they begin to push through B. West Virginia looking to catch things off guard. They're moving nice and slow, but Q looking for a little early info, does a quick sweep, and doesn't find anything so far. So it looks like he's actually going to pull back off of this one, which might be exactly the timing they're looking for. They do throw. Ooh, almost catch Instinct off guard entirely. He's going to have to fly away with that op, down to 30 health, jump into the pit, try to get a little bit of recovery on the breathing. Q making the march back in the site that he just abandoned, does take a couple of shots through the wall, looking for something. Dinks finds one before going down to Q and Giza, grab another one. Q backing it up with even more, and the mud pit is getting intense as it's down to a 4v3. Q from above, looking on to Boltsy. As soon as the smoke drops from the other side, SF finds their one, and the spike goes down, leaving Taze with full health and full shields to come to the party late, but he still gets one on his way out.
St. Clair running away with it with 8-1. I found it interesting, the very first pick, because Instinct was on such a hair trigger, literally looking for one pixel to be a slightly different color and then fire, that they were able to use the Owl Drone as sort of a pseudo double peak, which I kind of like. But the problem is that West Virginia can get kind of these cheeky picks, maybe an off angle, but they haven't gotten beyond that initial kill. And the best they've done is just one kill per round, and then St. Clair comes back and sweeps it.
Yeah, it's tough because, West Virginia's individual play is on, a second place collegiate level. They're doing excellent, but the team play dynamic here, you can just taste it coming from St. Clair. I mean, the audacity to just toss the op to a different player because you know they can use it as well as you can, proves to just have a team dynamic that's on a different level. 5 health left. Enoch still staying strong, looking for something here against Instinct. It would be a good pick. Look at that. He's going to take a 1-for-1. The spike goes down with him in a precarious location, so they're going to be able to sit on top of that. Steven doesn't even think that they need that much. He's going to pop a flash in an unorthodox position at best and give up his teammates' eyes as well just to come around. But SF steals it anyways by just shoving the barrel right into the actor. And that's 9v1 as we roll towards the half.
Sort of last chance here for West Virginia to try to salvage this with a 9-3. They're going all in this round, and judging how they've done with the Sheriffs thus far, the best they've had is that last round we just saw, picking up 2. So things don't look good for them if they lose this one. It'll most likely be an 11-1 for St. Clair. And then the bonus round in the second half isn't going to even be a factor. It's just who wins the pistol round. Nice start by Boltseed, but it is traded back. Jinx, they're not expecting that op. He used the tailwind to get on out of there. We're down to 2 apiece. The problem is West Virginia has dropped the spike dead center in mid.
Nowhere to run!
We're also going to see a Hunter's Fury be brought out by West Virginia. They do manage to dislodge Q, and they get the Killjoy on top of that. West Virginia picks up their second.
That timing was very close. We almost saw a player fall there, but they did keep 2 over into the next round. That'll save them a little bit of creds, and the real cred win is taking a full point. They're going to get some real guns here, real arms, but there's quite a bit of a bank here as the Saints have accrued interest. After so many frags, a pair of defuses. They're not going to go for an op, though. They're not going to go for an op. It's full Vandals here. As they go diving into the next round, they've armored up B site, which is the one under serious pressure, though the spike is still in pocket, so it's hard to say that they've really committed to B, although they do have 3 in the garage. A defender Killjoy might deter them from planning B at all. Sure enough, they're at least going to back out of the circle.
Tries to go for the wallbang location, doesn't find anyone there, so Instinct will go back to reposition. So everyone seems to be slowly coalescing around an A plant. The smoke goes through on mid to make sure those teammates can get there through there all right. We'll kind of have a split push between main and gardens.
Yeah, that attacker, or the defensive Killjoy didn't give them much other than information, so you gotta make that info count. SF holding a nasty off angle and throwing in some good utility to combat that. Oh, early utilities. He finds a double, trying to make his way back into the site. It's gonna go down to Enox from an angle. And against them, Steven trying to fight, but it's a 2v1, and their jiggle peak was too strong. West Virginia is up in players. Something that hasn't happened very much this game, so they want to run with it. Giza, though, sharp. Finds 2. It's whack-a-mole for him. He finds 2 before going down, and Jay Chronic now is king of the hill, holding this A site. He's got to get that plant down if he wants his clock tick to be on his side, and the timing is not there. Q holding the angle nice and strong and has the angle advantage. The walk from the shorter angle on the corner is what does the man in and gives up a point.
You crouch peek that at the end? Really?
Yeah, it was a... I definitely would have hard swung that.
You're going up against Q, the #1 player for St. Clair right now. That's pretty rough if the 1v1 is ended that way.
And that's another thing that the breaks help you with, that mental state, the making the very small decisions right at the end when it's down to 1v1 and the next couple of points maybe weighing on your shoulders. Small decisions that, you know, I'm sure he's critiquing fractions of a second later.
But the thing is, you can't be critiquing yourself too much on the past. You have to move forward, looking toward the future, but it's going to have to be a nearly flawless future for West Virginia if they want to take back Ascent. Start out with the first pistol round in the second half. Dart goes out in mid, tries to get a ping on everybody. He's destroyed by West Virginia. Slowly moving up mid-market. Instinct actually quite speedy with it. Deterred by a blind, and the dash away is going to put him right into Dinks' sightline. He'll be eliminated. Q now trying to move through mid. Oh, gets taken out, going right through smoke. West Virginia might have a chance here with a 4-on-3. St. Clair moving in to get the plant. Will place it up near Hell, between Hell and the generator. Seth also hanging on by just 5, so really it's kind of a 2v2.5. Zeph will be taken out. Very little left, and that's huge. Giza trying to bring things back and clean it up, but has to take a double angle. Inox with some great positioning helps West Virginia claim the first pistol round, and that's a darn good start. Now a whole long way to go.
It is a really good start. Taking that first pistol round means they've got a good shot at the next one. And if they can stay strong through the bonus, I mean, ideally they do exactly what St. Clair did, and we look at a 12-12 soon. But
I like sort of the chain reaction that they had set up in mid-market at the very beginning. Blinding the jet forces the tailwind out right into the sideline of the other waiting player. I don't know if they exactly planned it to happen just like that, but it overall worked out. Dink's already on that. Marshall wants to do some sniping, and you got to look at a lot of players from St. Clair. They're not going to have the shield, so that Marshall can be just as deadly as an op.
the Ion Sheriff, a single point of utility and no shields coming out from Giza. This is a bit of a save.
Yeah.
Charging on in, a flash. St. Clair takes B site, but defense is coming in close behind them. Jay Chronic from the bottom is going to find one. Oh, 2, 3. Wow. Before going down, and Bolty comes into the aid as well.
I understand St. Clair in that, you know you're very down on weapons. You often try to take them by surprise by just doing a huge push. I'm surprised they got so much ground up through mid-market. They walked through that uncontested in this round.
Yeah, they made it all the way to the plant right here. Yeah, there was definitely a very backseated hold on B site there, which is not bad. Obviously, it worked out just fine. It depends on where you're comfortable with.
Now comes the real challenge. We go into the bonus round, and West Virginia really doesn't have the margin of error they would like to do things like bonus. They have to win basically every single round from here on out. They can only make 2 mistakes. A little bit of a quiet before we head into what's a very crucial round for St. Clair to put them up to 11. No one holding down mid, so these jump peaks aren't going to reveal too much.
That's true, but they're so worried about long sightlines here. I mean, they have a smoke going constantly in catwalk, and they're doing jump peaks, if any kind of peaks at all, across mid. They're going to make their way around the wings, B main and A main.
Owl Dart hits Sova. We'll get a few pings going off. It's probably going to be a repositioning move back over toward A. They're already back in their own spawn, bringing the spike.
They may just leave a player in garage now that they've gotten the Owl Drone out. We know that the Owl Drone coming from Q, not from Q, from West Virginia has been.
This is a scary player to peek, though. Instinct holding down this sight line. On A,
30
a
seconds
peek
left.
out and a collateral possibly. Oh, but he backs off instead of moving forward.
Blocking sight.
Yeah, he's going to take
He's
the
going to
angle.
put, oh, he gets caught in the
my
smoke
goodness.
too, but manages, doesn't,
Yeah, that
manages
cloudburst.
to recover and gets the pick.
That last second one-way cloudburst was stressful, but it saves him in some way. But he finds one before SF comes rolling around to take care of business. Steven is going to be now the leader of the pack.
West Virginia, considering their bonusing, I would consider just two kills at this point to be a win. Enough of a dent that you can put in the other team's economy. Playing it gingerly, mainly moving in. They drop right down, but immediately into the waiting arms of Steven. But that's a huge double that's picked out by Boltsy, making a triple. It's a one-on-one. Are you kidding me? And Steven goes down to 15. Can he bring it back? It's going to be a one-on-one. And he's moving up, maybe caught in utility. I don't know if he's expecting him to be that close. He isn't! And Boltsy clears them all out. There isn't enough time to defuse, though. But still.
Unbelievable. Bolty to take a 4K with the classic alt fire. And no health at all. He took so much contact beforehand. All in a row. Oh, look at this devolution of the 1v1. 15 health. That's enough. Runs up with nothing in his hands. May have been plumb out of ammo and didn't want to recharge when he was so close on the angle. absolutely ridiculous, but that was all the time burning they need, and it was a brilliance played by the Saints to hold off and burn the clock right out instead of taking that 1v1 early when he was on top of the spike.
Initial charge through Fish Market going to be put at bay by the KO grenade, and that's just going to make St. Clair rethink that route, or at least try to just wait out all of these smokes and abilities. They'll start taking some initial peeks through mid, but you got to be warned that op is right there. It is smoked off, so Dinks won't be too much of a threat for the next few seconds. Under the cover of that smoke, slowly moving back over toward A.
He's going to move away as that smoke tells tale signs of aging. And a little bit of bulking up on the A site main push. If they'd like to make their way around, they better time it against this owl drone. Sure enough, they do. So the catwalk is under much heavier defense. And while main is really fleshed out from West Virginia, we're going to see the Saints make their way onto the mud. Taze, their first defense, takes care of one player, and the trap wire to give him a second, a third through the wall. He's so strong right now. That wall bangable action just takes a little bit of study.
Time here. Look at this. They have only 20 seconds left, and they're way back in their own spawn. They've already committed themselves to just saving.
Yeah, they have. It looks like they're just crouch walking around back there.
10 seconds left.
Well, a win is a win for West Virginia. So far in this half, they're 3-1 in 4 rounds, and I mean, of course, very hard to win the round the other you're bonusing in, so they at least managed to take out everyone from St. Clair, so West Virginia might have something to say yet about this match. I'm liking how this is turning out. We got a good one.
And Taze, the 3-of-a-kind player, to take 2 in a row here.
No charges.
And then third soon after underneath the smokes. And they just call off the game altogether. I mean, they were right at B main. They decided to back off.
So that goes there. This goes here.
Throwing the spike in the pocket and going for another resplit with 3 up front. Was that a shadow step from the Omen that they didn't follow up on?
Well, Dinks gets the first pick with the op, and Spike is also just sitting right there in the pocket. And there's only 4 left for St. Clair to really keep pushing it. They'll send Steven back to be the new Spike carrier.
Oh, unless he doesn't want it.
Might
He's
not,
gonna check mid first.
try to bait out a shot here or there, but that op is still laser focused. That KJ, if you dare step out one, if you tempt fate, you are not going to have a good day. You need some sort of smoke up through mid, trying to get the jiggle peek out. Will you tempt fate?
Oh.
You tempt fate, and Q goes down. Top player for St. Clair now eliminated.
It is so tough when people are casually marching around on catwalk. You think, oh, that area looks kind of safe, but there has been an op camping along the grass here. They send in 2 players at once, which does not double your odds of survival, and one goes down. Steven, from a melee distance, good flick right there, is going to find one.
Immediately rips the command null, taking any sort of abilities away. That makes this route through heaven really hard to take. You can't throw out the dart, you can't throw out the knife. So what are they going to do? They're just going to wait it out for the time being. St. Clair still hasn't planted, but they'll now move in. Landed in the corner, but Enox and Dinks come in, taking out 2, and Giza bites the dust as well. West Virginia continuing on the win streak, going to 6. And here's the thing that was kind of a sleeper is I was so surprised at that Cypher pick. But now that West Virginia got through the bad half, now that they can use the Cypher to its full abilities as a heavy defensive player with so much utility, we're seeing a completely different team.
Yeah, I mean, it feels significantly stronger, and that's kind of the gamble that you take with your offensive half and your defensive half when you're building that that roll-up. I love how you really got us running into that idea of having a mirror match there, only to be thwarted by this Cypher. I think that lends a hand to the mindset I'm sure that St. Clair was looking down when they expected an absolute mirror match and are now having to deal with a Cypher on the defense, which it belongs there, but it feels like it doesn't really belong there. It's a little bit out of pocket.
I mean, meta is meta for a reason.
That's true.
KJ can do so much, but the one thing she can't do is use her utility from clear across the map. Cypher can just go anywhere he pleases, and he'll know his tripwires are going to work. So that's the one thing, and maybe it just is the ultimate comfort pick for West Virginia, or maybe they're just thinking where we're going to make our plays are in the defensive half. And unfortunately for them, the way things turned out, they got to pick the map, but they didn't get to pick the side. So we were all kind of lulled into a 10-2 thinking that St. Clair was going to run away with it. But now things are really starting to get down to the wire.
And I mean, this could speak for a battle of momentum as well. We saw a roll on that 10-2, and now it's going around the other way. It does not look bad for West Virginia at all, and if they can keep things together, they may have a stab at it. 11-6 as we get deeper and deeper into the double digits here. West Virginia have still got a fight to make.
Dings taking an initial close peek up near Fish Market. St. Clair really isn't having any of that. There's that KJ lurking a little bit back more towards spawn, but that's very close up to this Opper's moving. Does have the dash to get out of there, but as soon as that burns, still takes the peak. And Giza trying to get the jump peak. Now he knows he's there, but he didn't fire. And Giza will just move back to regroup with the team. But some information given over toward Dinks.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, though, nothing makes me stand there
goodness.
longer. Oh,
They didn't look! They didn't even check it!
2, and he sweeps around looking for a triple. It's not there, but a 2-for-1. That's a Black Friday deal if I've seen one. Steven now trying to sneak his way past, but is not quite going to be there. And so much vision now as the attacker Killjoy is already down. Options are running thin to the defensive team. And it's going to be that plant. Right off the back of it. Oh, the Hunter's Fury from a distance. I didn't even see it coming, and neither did Steven as he has to jump up and stay on his toes before getting a good plant in an awkward location. This isn't, I mean, we've seen it planted there a few times, but it's not their default. It's not their prime pick. They can still play around it, though. They're going to have to hang right underneath Hell.
Oh, Steven is pained not only with the neural theft, but with the owl drone as well. And Chronic comes in with the Odin. Boltzy also gets a wallbang onto Giza, and it's down to the one player that everyone knows where he is. West Virginia will take the win again. You were right when you were saying Black Friday sale. In this case, everything must go, and that's all of St. Clair's players as West Virginia moves up to 7.
I will say, Steven was dancing on coals there as he got the Hunter's Fury thrown at him, had to get the plant, the neural theft, just back and forth. He worked like a paperclip, but he did not snap under the pressure and found this frag from a just what a lineup, too. It's like they scheduled that one days in advance.
You just ever have one of those days where it feels like the world is against you because every single utility from the other team is hitting you?
Steven knows.
All right, we're going to be heading into round 19. West Virginia on a tear in defense. Only lost one round, and that was the bonus.
And
even then, just barely.
Standing right up against the fences. Enox is going to find them in the night. And it is it's a nice spread offense here.
Do hear the op shot ring out, but it doesn't pick up anybody. Few smokes place out through mid. Oh, if they would take the peek, yeah, Steven, okay, they're now under the cover, so they've safely made it. Over to the hands of the Opera. I don't know if that's actually that safe if they peek out here. And if they're sloppy about it, could lead to a collateral as well. How much are they going to pressure Dynex? They're going to force him to move back, probably back over towards Boathouse, or at least on point. They're in hot pursuit of him. And Chronic comes in with the Odin and the Shorty. I like the sidearm swap. And now it comes the knives, picks up another, and still traded very favorably for West Virginia.
An op for a frag is a trade they'll make. SF doing well to hold things in, but he's also got the spike. It's a lot of duty for one man, and look at that. Come rolling around the corner with the Odin. None other than the resident Sova. And I mean, that is a tough one. They had a pretty good setup here, though. Nobody loves to run into the face of an op, especially from that kind of distance. However, they're the only person on site. They were able to only push them back, though. And this Jet paid the money for a sidearm and did the work for an op and for an ultimate, and it got them another 2 points to the KDA.
Look at this credit differential right here.
Yeah.
5,000 for 3 members of West Virginia. And St. Clair, this is an all-in purchase for them. They got to win this, and Instinct will start things off right, taking out Dinks. The Opper is no more for West Virginia. They might have an uphill battle moving forward. Still clumping around mid.
Cover going out.
No one really wants to take the place. I mean, that was a very close-up position. He was clear around the corner there in an opposition there. Even with the tailwind, he would have gone right behind a crate and given his position away. That was very risky moving that far up. Dart coming back online for Chronic, but he's suppressed with the command. Noel's just going to try to body block it with the Odin. He gets smoked off. Is he going to fire through that smoke? They're just going to walk on in, and there's no one in Boathouse. So now that everything is smoked off, they're going to get a great post-plant setup on B.
Spike planted.
Yeah, and that's a relatively early plant considering the way that these last couple of rounds have gone, where they might plant with one player left. Steven just grasping, reaching for those 300 creds. This is not that situation. They've got a strong game here, but Chronic is looking to fight back against it. Is going to get one and keep himself safe with a full 150% health, but the Hunter's Fury.
Player standing.
And that's the catalyst. Look
right
at that
through.
SF to grab a couple more.
And you could see a moment of kind of indecision there being brought out, because you can see where the Hunter's Fury, you're going to see right here. He looks over to Boathouse because he can kind of deduce that's where Hunter's Fury is going to come in, but they still haven't dislodged Seth, who's hanging back in market. So he looks back over like, I still got to deal with the angle I'm holding.
Yep.
This is the one thing, I mean, West Virginia have played their hearts out, but they just had such a lopsided first half. St. Clair might still take it.
Yeah, it feels like they've climbed the shelf, they got the cookie jar, and there's a child-safe lock on it, and they just can't open this darn thing. They're so close, it's in their reach, and look at these now. Back and forth, defense way in on top of them. West Virginia is getting angry for this point, a blind and a surprise take. They absolutely bulldozed that round out of nowhere.
Okay, what just happened?
Yeah,
I turned my head for 1 second.
That was your mistake.
I am not using that as a figure of speech, by the way. I was turning my head to get a drink of water for 1 second, and I look back, and there's only one player from St. Clair left.
I mean, look at this. They came riding in. They dumped the util right on B main, shuffled themselves clean across mid with no regrets. And I mean, there's no other way to say it. They took a point. They grabbed point 9. It's 9v12, still match point. But way to take them by surprise.
They take St. Clair here. That's going to force some sort of economy on, so that could be another round in their favor. Drive it to at least 11-2 if they can pick this up. Got the Opper back. I think the main thing, Instinct comes in, is popping off with the knives, but it's only a 1-for-1 trade. Hugh comes in. Can the Opper get a pick? The bait from the jump peak. Beautifully played by Giza to move into Fish Market, and now things look dire for the Mountaineers.
Dire indeed. Only a few options here. Those two options are going to be either to find everybody before they find you or to get that spike, and that spike is well covered. So they're going to have a strong play into this area. Jay Chronic is going to be the first one to make their debut on stage. Going to throw a few darts in for a little info. Not going to find much. In fact, they don't find anything at all, but they do know that nobody has shot that down, so they want to proceed a little bit. Oh, and through the wall, Q. Whether it's luck, I don't know. Now, one player left. It's not looking fantastic.
Has to be Taze. He picks up one, but it's a great showing by him, but the spike was already starting to tick down. I don't know if he even would have had enough time, but St. Clair wins, but West Virginia surprising all of us with one heck of a rally in the second half. If this had been just a 9-3 or an 8-4, we would have been telling a different story, but a 10-2 is so difficult to overcome.
And what an overcoming they've done. This has been a strong underdog match, and you have to remember that. They are underdogs that we did not expect to see in the final two, and they're putting up a solid fight. I mean, an impressive pull back from a scary position at that half and look at these boards. Jay Chronic putting in the hours. That's not to say that we didn't see a lot of excellent performance from these players. I can think of things from Taze and from Boltsy, plays that I would love to see a second time, and you'll get your chance to see some of those exciting plays again in a minute.
Thing is, I was singing Q's praises so much for basically getting up to 20 in the first half, and that was it.
And that was about it.
And then the second half, just complete. It was Seth who stepped up.
That's true, and I mean that's kind of what we saw though from that side in particular. St. Clair did fantastic in the first half, relatively speaking. I mean they fought hard in the second as well and had a lot of good plays, but what a scramble it was for those double-digit points as we got very, very close, all the way up to a 9-12. And that's just a third of the game at the minimum. We are seeing at least a whole nother map that could give a much better chance to find that 9-3 or that 8-4 that they would love to see as they go into their own defensive half coming from the Mountaineers.
Bringing out the unexpected Cypher pick makes me think that that might be a comfort pick for West Virginia. If you're really good at a Cypher, and then judging just by the scoreline that we saw, they might be a more defensively inclined team. The problem is we're moving over to Lotus, which is rather difficult for the defending team.
I will say, though, if that makes a difficult defensive job for the other team and you can thrive in that area, that's extra points you might be finding.
Yeah, but they only won 2 out of the 12 rounds they had on attack for West Virginia.
That's very true. It'll be a difficult game, but they knew that when they were coming to it. I'm sure they were looking forward to making it to top 2, but we definitely didn't expect it. So this is the real underdog battle here.
It is an underdog battle, but West Virginia might just have it in them to drive this to a Game 3. And that split map, the unexpected choice that we weren't really thinking was going to come into the equation, might just still be on the table. But St. Clair is looking to close it out here and end the NACE season outright. They were undefeated in their regular season, not dropping a single match. And they want to sit as the undisputed champions, #1 seeded throughout the entire tournament, and sweeping it in the grand finals. They're just 1 game away from doing all of that.
What an impressive resume bullet point they would love to be sporting for a long time to come, but they're going to have to duke it out on this map to get that.
And then just taking a look at the bans, we see Sunset and Bind were banned first off in the proceedings. I'm just really surprised that Haven was banned, because normally, if things were to go in the grand finals the way they've been going in the regular season, it would have been Lotus then Haven, because these teams just seem to love or gravitating toward the stages with 3 sites on them.
Yeah, and I mean, that's nothing about Split. I fell into love with Valorant watching the professionals play on Split a long time ago, but it's just not the way the season has been. And we have seen so much gameplay on Haven. There's so much footage out there. Everybody is almost predictable. It could be the idea that they're going for when they go to ban Split, or when they go to take Split, to make sure to get a little bit of fresh territory and a little bit of something new. Because we have not seen any of that Sunset play. That is territory a bit too fresh for any of the players tonight, apparently.
I mean, the 1 week you took off, we saw Sunset
That's true.
play. But, yeah, and that was quite an interesting game that came up. But we got to get back to the game at hand, and I really don't know if there really isn't anything that's really positive. There are some things that are positive and some things that are negative for West Virginia. I mean, the positive thing is that they're going to be attacking first, and that's positive just because it's a little bit harder to defend on Lotus, especially if you get that early plant down on C. Problem is that we didn't see them have a really good time attacking on Ascent, and their agent selection, especially if they go with the Cypher again, that's just going to be difficult to use at its full potential when you're attacking.
Yeah, and I mean, we also could have some comfort picks which were hiding in the shadows. Maybe they're not comfortable on Viper at all and won't be picking the Viper. That could be a detrimental blow to the situation. So we'll have to see what they're comfortable with and what they want to roll out here as we move on to the site. But we've seen a lot of this one. It's pretty worked out what 3 stages we're going to be seeing. Their way on. Here's a couple of plays from the last game to give you another taste, another relook.
I mean, showing just how dire it was. St. Clair had, coming off the bonus round, it was 11-4, and then all of a sudden the wins just piled up for West Virginia. I think a key thing was just their opping by Dinks was so good. St. Clair multiple times here, I was saying they dare tempt fate, and they paid dearly for it.
This has a lot of long lines, this map does, that you can draw those op sites across, but much the same to say about Lotus. So I'm excited to see what kind of opping powers they're going to, well, at least on A. At least on A long. If you
I
don't
was
have a
about to
strong
say,
Viper,
I don't really see a site like Lotus B being prime opping
No,
material.
not Lotus B. That's very true. It's almost as bad as Haven B, except you don't have a big window, a breeze-style window from the other side. So it is true that they'll get a little bit less opping power, but it's not totally nullified.
The room is so small, no matter where you stand, the end of the barrel is just going to stick
in your
out.
face.
That's how small it feels, definitely. All right, here we go. St. Clair versus West Virginia. Saints versus Mountaineers. Saints are just one game away from claiming the NACE Star League Grand Championship in Varsity Premier. And we head down to the beautiful stage of Lotus, get to admire all the natural scenery and tranquility for just a few minutes before all the chaos starts.
Beautiful indeed. As bright green as the grass on Ascent is, it just doesn't keep up with ginormous flowers which topple Brutalist-style buildings in this absolute tunneled mountainscape of a town on the lake.
That's how you know the monks who built this sanctuary were really ahead of their time.
Oh, yeah.
The ancient monks carrying out 20th century brutalism. That is an amazing little bit of a foresight.
What can I say? They were just good at what they do.
They were. St. Clair definitely can't be complaining and being good at what they do. They have been undefeated throughout the regular season, have been cruising through the postseason. The last match they had was against Converse, and that was a 2-0 sweep. Converse put up a good fight. They're kind of similar to West Virginia and still finishing rounds at 13-7, 13-8, but St. Clair has just still not been too much on the back foot, except for that last round, except for the last game in defense. I think the one thing that got them out of it was that they just had such a good margin built up to start with. Get started with St. Clair on defense. A bit of attention being given over to C Mount. Smoke placed down through the choke. Also might have a little bit of an interesting lurking situation being brought out, and West Virginia is just continuing to surprise us with their choices. They brought out the Deadlock, the Gecko, and the Astra. None of the same picks that St. Clair brought out.
Looks like West Virginia is going to make their way away from C site and on over a little bit towards maybe B, maybe A. See, what they're considering is they've already sent a scout down either way. Jay Chronic, taking a little bit of that first contact, is going to lose quite a bit of health. They're going to get an ult point at least and be on out of there. And
Well, all of
this.
you Wingman fans out there
Yep.
do get to see him for the grand finals, and I approve of that. But Q is not going to be swayed by how cute the Wingman is. It's just said going to ruthlessly get a double against West Virginia, but it has narrowed down to a 3-on-3. But a util thrown out onto the point to try to clear it. An instinct just pops out from around the corner, says, "Hi, how are ya?"
One enemy
Takes him
remaining.
out, but West Virginia is managing to trade back and forth. It's a 1v2, but not much time left to plant.
10 seconds
Very
left.
risky situation here for both teams. Might just have to try to take it on eliminations alone, and was way out and to the right with the crosshair placement. Quick replay, the Wingman just not distracting Q in the slightest. Just 2 taps, 1-2, gets the headshots, moves on in, but West Virginia at least made it a pretty close pistol round.
I'm still just trying to comprehend West Virginia's
I know.
team composition
It's
here.
almost as if they're just going into this like, we're the... I mean, I can't read their minds, okay? So take this with a mountain of salt. And I mean a mountain of salt, but I'm almost wondering if it's like, let's just play what we're good at. Let's have fun with this. We didn't expect to get this far. We'll have fun this game and just play what we're good at.
I don't hate that mindset, and you have to be there. I mean, all the breaks that we take, all the tactical pauses that are just spent breathing and drinking some water will never get you into the mindset that you can achieve by saying, get out there and have some fun. So, and I mean, that's not to diss on the professionality that they're bringing up in their gameplay. I still think they're doing fantastic, but I mean, just this team comp is so far out of the pocket, it's on the floor.
Yeah, and and the thing is with a team as good as St. Clair, it's almost as if you know that you're just not going to be able to out-meta them. So you just bring
That's
out
fair.
something.
That's fair.
And hey, it's working out for this second game. Despite having the gun differential, they've opened things up with a 5-3. Now moving in to get the early plant. This is a great start.
Yeah, but yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's all I've got to say about it. They're doing excellent to take this site over. C. Steven is going to find their first one and a second, as well as finally they're whittling down some of the players sitting right here on top of the spike, but the clock continues to tick. So Q is going to make their debut on this round and find one. Steven drilling down for the 3K. And Q's going to look to get that plant. And Steven to make a 4 of a kind. Excellently done. That is a scary position for
those curious minds inquiring to know, it was West Virginia's pick for Ascent. St. Clair chose Lotus, but we've seen so many times it's almost a curse. The map you choose is the one that you lose on. So
yeah.
West Virginia still has a chance to come back, and they were making quite a run at it with 2 unexpected picks early on. And they'll be making another run at it. Look how close bunched up together they are, moving up A. The wall is placed up there, and Inox gets the first pick against Instinct, but are they checking the angle against Q? They do, and manage to keep the damage from Q to just 1 pick. Bit of a Viper Molly to lock off A main. Might have to go through the door instead, through the smoke. There's no one hanging back on A. Instead, the 2 are right there, and Giza manages to take out
no.
Bolty with the Bulldog, and still manages to outshoot a bunch of rifles with the economy pick. That's a trade St. Clair is going to take any day of the week.
Now Jay Chronic on the deadlock, who took the long way around, made it all the way up to B site, got to dip their toes in the water, decided it was a bit too cold, and made it all the way back around to A main. Unfortunately, if they could have come through on this pinch by moving a little bit quicker, it may have been devastating for Giza, but instead, Giza goes to town and spends all they've got.
We were getting so close to the holiday season, I dare say St. Clair's doing their best Grinch impression, just taking all of the lovely goodies that West Virginia purchased for themselves and bonusing on through with a whole bunch of credits in their pocket.
It's tough, yeah, taking 3 in a row gives you kind of a sour taste in your mouth for round 4, but it's going to be a big, strong save from West Virginia University as they look to make a strong debut in 0.5, hopefully. I mean, they're looking for more than 2 points in this half to outdo their history today. So it's not asking for too much, but they at least took the bonus round last game. Chronic falls fast to Instinct. Giza with a quick flash. Assisted play, but they don't find very much contact. In fact, they're swarmed a bit as Enox and Dink come rolling around the corners. To fell Giza means to get a plant now. All they have to do is buckle in for the re-hit. Enox starts throwing in that thrasher.
Out. Does get the stun on anybody?
Ooh.
Well, you know, who needs a stun when you just got
Yeah.
mad head tapping skills? I mean, yeah, who needed thrash? Toss that fish out into the ocean and just be yourself with that sheriff. You've got everything you need right there. Thrifty picked up by the Mountaineers.
That's a strong Thrifty, too. I mean, it's not to say it diminishes the cred seriously from the Saints, but it does put an op just out of reach, if I'm not mistaken.
Even if it didn't hit, I mean, it still gave a good amount of info, so. Thrash did come in handy there, but just purely as a tool. It worked more as kind of Sky's dog, and just seeing the opposing player, rather than, you know, its ability to just freeze the other players in their tracks.
I was wrong. 0 credits left. They find an op. Look at them just on their tiptoes reaching for that op. Enox finding a 3K and making it into the next round means they've got plenty of money for shields and the like. They're going to go grab Dizzy, get right on back into it. Dizzy will be back online in another 5 seconds. Can they last till then? Yes, they will, as they play through the box and take down Instinct. An embarrassing way for your one of your good players to go. Looks like they may make a little bit of a weight shift towards B for the first time this game.
Oh, Saf is waiting there, takes out Wingman as well.
Wingman is going to drop the spike right in the middle, just past Snakebite. He could grab the Dizzy and use it to his advantage in a few seconds here, but in the same few seconds, if Dizzy's not grabbed, he's going to go out, and they've got to fight against Steven. There are 2 players to help make that push. SF, no, it's Q from
okay,
above,
I take
then
back
SF.
everything I said about opping in B. Apparently someone heard me and said, you know what, we're going to show you we can op in B just fine.
Yeah, took a devastating op shot in B to win the round, so never mind whatever we said.
Now it goes back up to 4-1. St. Clair just going to get right back on track with the win streak and really try to do the same thing that they did in Ascent. If they can finish north of 9-3, then it really doesn't matter how much West Virginia comes alive in the last half. There just won't be enough margin for error for them to play with. Initial push out through A, gonna throw the Dizzy out, try to find any sort of blind. Doesn't find anybody. There's only that turret hanging out around near door. Everyone else is positioned a bit farther back on point. Doors will rotate, they'll move through that, trying to check all the angles. Dinks flushes out Seth, now only one left on point by Giza. Wingman goes in for the plant, and Giza just reads it perfectly. Fires through the smoke. And Even Saints back up and will use the Killjoy to clear things out. And give St. Clair enough time to rotate over.
Just an intimidating amount of timing really slows the push there, and that defender Killjoy now.
I love this. If this raise, okay, Deadlock does seem to be aware of A, but I was saying everyone was looking one way, and they got to detain on one, too.
This raise goes flying in with the ult and finds Boltsy. That's tough. Steven's going to get the defuse off of that KJ ultimate, giving them 3 players to roll into the next round. Plenty of creds and I believe an op if they so choose. WVU.
South.
It's looking skinny here.
I was thinking that we had the opportunity for a huge flank, and they definitely seem to be aware. You can see the Deadlock looking back towards spawn, but no one else. An Instinct just comes in with a ruthless double, makes it a triple. Just about every ult has been spent for St. Clair, however. West Virginia has quite a few in their pocket.
And it's going to be a roll to A with all but 1 player, hopefully. That Deadlock's looking for a little bit of an off-angle pick.
Throw the fish out. Doesn't really have anyone to see.
Yeah, not much at all. Giza is going to drop down to the lower level and look for a little bit of action. Enoch's getting in that quick plant. It's going to be the first target. Well, no, Giza finds 2 first before even considering it and just drills through that wall with a diamond bit.
St. Clair picks up another one. We'll go up to 6-1, and we're a little over halfway through the first half, so about a quarter through the entire game, and St. Clair looking like they want to end this one in record time. West Virginia made quite a rally in Ascent. I don't know if that's going to be the same on Lotus.
And it's going to be a timeout that they're going to toss onto the rails. Look at these plays by Giza, though. We've seen a lot of action coming from Giza as a strong defender. We'll have to see what exactly they can do on the offensive as we get closer and closer to the half.
Yeah, and I just have to be wondering what West Virginia's game plan is here, because they have some interesting picks. You know, I always enjoy seeing the Gecko, just seeing all the friends, and of course everyone loves Wingman, so we want to see that, but at the same time, it's like it's the grand finals.
And Deadlock, we haven't seen a lot of their placement either. And I mean, they've got some decent utility, but the synergy is, I don't think, quite ironed out yet. It's tough getting those later players, even if they're not super recent. The more recent players just have not quite found their niche yet, and that's just the way the game is played. So pulling them out in the finals means you've got a lot of strong play with them, or you just want to have a good time. And either way.
Also the controller pick as well. I mean, that Viper is just such a pick that you need to use, because that wall, the utility that it usually throws out onto A to divide that up or block off the attacking team. I mean, Astra technically can throw up a wall like that, but
not
only a few times each game.
And we're seeing that Viper wall from other teams be thrown across B and up A every single round. It feels like it's a part of the game. I will say, though, this raise is something that we've seen all the time here. And the breach is not a wild pick either.
Oh, Jay Chronic just hanging out with the crosshair. All lines up, immediately takes out Steven.
Yeah, they're starting to fight back though. Dinks has kind of woken up. It was a very, very close to home game. I mean, Spike was still in pocket. Looked like they were still deciding where they wanted to go. Flashes are coming out, and attackers making their way up C. Looks like Dizzy's going to get an effective splash there. And they make their way over to A, sending one up B main to make a little bit of a ruckus. Q is going to be the one to make contact there.
One benefit is that for St. Clair is that they do have the Killjoy holding it down. There's a lot of util that they'll have to get rid of. One grenade popped, and oh, not really that much factor. Giza's now gone. Another
Planted.
wingman thrown out to plant the spike.
Sure enough. Sounds like a very successful plant.
Here.
And they really own the stage here. I mean, ooh, it's all down to timing. Sure enough, Q is going to grab one on the timing, but it's getting a little bit close. So they're going to have to drop in. Oh, look at that. I don't think they thought there was really a blind there until they caught the voice call for it, then turned a quick 90 degrees just to find the player who was previously blind ready to go.
I just want to pick your mind because you said it sounded like a successful plant. What's an unsuccessful plant sound like? I mean, because if you plant it, you plant it. I mean, I know you're saying they weren't taken out while they were planting, but it's it's like, do you plant the spike and then trip over it? You know, once you've done it, it just sounds a little weird. It's like,
yeah, I'm not sure exactly how Wingman is.
They won unsuccessfully.
An unsuccessful plant, I think, is when you get the plant and then you're fragged immediately.
That's fair. I'll take that.
They let you have the 300 creds, and then they take the round for it. Q and SF fighting in a battle against Inox here are going to take the odds in their favor, but they don't get the spike down, and they still have a very spread defense across the map, so it'll be an easier second hit for West Virginia, depending on where they want to go, but it's not going to be C. And SF is definitely trying their best to make sure of that.
Very rough position for West Virginia. They're going to be forced to move out through B, where St. Clair's Rays is just holding down that sideline, gets it with the op.
Another op shot in B, and you can see all three of them line up and try to take that angle at once for at least a good amount of time into whoever could be there, but who was there was a single shot through, and they're lucky they didn't have some collateral issues. And they take their chances instead with the Viper's Pit.
Not only through the Viper's Pit, but having to fight Seth on high ground as well.
Yeah, Seth on high ground and a second player as well. If they could have gotten rid of that raise on op in B, something I didn't think I was going to say, then that would have been their only fight. They would have been there. SF now backing out of the smoke to take a good shot from the shoulder onto a injured, if not maimed, Dinks. And look at that last little eye contact between Instinct and Seth locking down this crossfire that makes it impossible for the last West Virginian player to make through. So they're not going to find that point, and it's now only 2 against the 7. That's better than the 2 and 10, but that won't be the case in the next 3 rounds if they don't find one.
Just looking over the gun purchases that everybody has. Seems like generally rifles still available to everybody. But West Virginia is running into the problem where they're having to bring out multiple economy rounds, and it makes things 1 win can easily turn into 2 for St. Clair. Since seems like that they've mostly purchased up for this round, that would make this round a very crucial one for them to win.
Instinct with another op shot is going to find one and keeps looking for another through those revolving doors. Not quite going to be there. Seth considering knocking down this wall, or maybe is just watching and hoping that Enox will. But it doesn't look like they will. Along with that op, they're going to play an ult out, looking for even more. And as the Wingman goes rushing in, he'll be down right outside the gates of A.
Doesn't even try to dodge that line.
Stares
Bolte
it down.
comes in, my goodness, with a triple, immediately swinging things back over to the Mountaineers. St. Clair having to back off for a few seconds. They'll trip the door, try to catch this breach right around the corner.
Yeah, down to Seth and Giza, and they're on opposite sides of these doors.
Player standing.
Ooh, Seth's taken down, leaving just
Bolte
Giza
might
right on
actually
top.
have the ace here. Oh, it's taken away from him by Dinks. I mean, West Virginia is not going to complain about a win in this scenario. They need to start racking them up.
They do, yes. This is not their money-making season, but they don't want to spend everything right now as far as mistakes they're allowed to make and rounds they can afford to lose. They know that the summer is coming and they have a chance to bring it into the double digits, but they don't want the Saints to be waiting at point 12 for them.
Balls drop, West Virginia off to the races. You only have one holding down C. It's KJ with some util planted. St. Clair spreading out mainly between A and B. They'll move up with their Gecko to take that old point. Bring him online with the Thrash. Use that for some information gathering. Yep. Okay, they're going to throw the Thrash out. Does it hit that KJ? They're moving in with the Satchel, trying to catch every angle they can with that fish. And that's just going to force St. Clair to back off the point, work on the retake.
Yeah, the Saints let them wash right over the site and are more comfortable apparently on a retake here. It's going to have to be now. Oh, Enoch's really trapped in the corner. Takes quite a bit of damage off that snake bite, actually.
Nice angle held by Dinks. Moves in, and it's only going to be a 1-1 trade. St. Clair trying to move in. Giza opening stuff up on ground level with the Guardian, too. Can pick up a gun, but can't really use it as Enox trades it back. Picks up a double. Keanu is not going to be able to turn it around for St. Clair. Enox gets another win for the Mountaineers and drives it to 7-4.
Damage off that. It's a good thing that spike isn't fragile. It endured so much utility on this round as people were just fighting for this hill. Seaside can feel like a real king of the hill situation because you have to be there long enough to actually get the defuse. Playing on time here instead of eliminations was maybe the mindset from the start when Enox planted it in the corner that they would be retaking against. And here it is, the last round before the half, and 4 points is a strong hold if they can put up a second round or a second half just like they did last time. Beautiful timing by Enix. A very close call, but they do find it, and that's going to give them the confidence to go rolling in with the squad. As this site has been historically held by two people at the best, so they've just got to find. There he is, Giza.
Oh!
Wow, puts up a lot of a fight. They had a whole conversation right there. Put the tea on the kettle.
Just going for the body shots, the old spray and pray.
A little back and forth action. And they're not going to make it out of that one alive. The spike so close to home, but not quite there. And it lays unexploded in the water, and it's an 8th point for SCC.
Does manage to do some nice tracking. I mean, isn't quite spray and pray. That's a bit short. It's just I've never seen someone go for that many body shots in a row, but did do a fairly good job of tracking the KJ. Still gets the elimination in the end. 8-4, not too bad for West Virginia if they have a similar performance that they had on Ascent. I said at the end of that game that if the score was 8-4, I think West Virginia would have won, and so it's 8-4 West Virginia. Let's see what you can do.
And as the walls go down, they're off to the races, though it's going to be a slow crawl towards A, as we have a couple of West Virginian players holding the defense through a little bit of util, and only one player Q playing through a potential wall towards Seaside, where a lot of the action has been. I will say, B has been quite a bit of a fallback plan for a while, so they've only left one player there. And as a debut utility to show off the beginning of the round contact, Jake Chronic is going to take a little bit of damage. In the middle of it all, the SF finds one. Continues to roll upward, but I don't think all the angles have been checked. Jake Chronic with low health was still hanging out around the corner and finds Instinct before going down. That's an important pick to make. Now only 4 players rolling towards A site, and the other 3 for West Virginia are making their way down.
Seth also on his molly was able to pick up one of the Mountaineers. Kind of elimination you're always happy to choose. And from a long distance and just a ghost, Giza lands the headshot. I suppose everyone has a ghost, so it's not really in my realm to say just a ghost, but still a great job with the head tapping and a very crucial win for St. Clair. I think they take this up to 10-4 now if they win this second. And they won the first 3 to start out in the first half as well, so they could just move here on out and close it out 13-4. That's not out of the question.
Yeah, and that would be season. So West Virginia has got to keep it together. This is an exciting time for them as they are staving off and trying to prolong the season for just one more map. But the party is in on C as the Windsor St. Clair Saints come creeping into the site, which has been armed. And look at this. If they can keep them off for a little bit more time, they've got a nice slow pinch coming around, a little bit of a flank. Could be 2-person. As Enox and company are looking to get some extra damage on in the mid area, they might just do it. They're going to have to pop some doors.
Move around the corner, have to be careful of Jay Chronic hanging back in the corner, but Giza has that locked down, gets the spot. Locks it in with the double peek, and now St. Clair with a huge advantage going in for the plant and only 2 to take it back from West Virginia.
West Virginia easily could have opened that door and been very menacing, but we did not see.
1 enemy remaining.
Yep, sure enough, this is going to be a quick finish to that round. I really think Enox and company could have made a devastating play in a flank that was a little bit higher pace, but it just wasn't there. They left Jay Chronic to man the boat alone, and that's just a difficult ask to play against the entire St. Clair team. So it was a close one. I thought they may have had that one.
I think if St. Clair wins their bonus here and makes it 11-4, I've got my silverware drawer open right now, and I'm just about ready to take a fork out and stick it in this game if St. Clair wins it. They're moving up as a cohesive unit. Dink swings around the corner, gets blinded, buying St. Clair some more time to take an off angle. Steven gets one, it's traded back. They've traded 2 for 2 and have a few guns that they can pick up. They'll trade up to the rifles, now use the dog around the corner to try to clear out A. And running away is this breach. Is the dog even gonna see? Gets a peek at the very end. Now St. Clair with that information, moving in towards A to try to get the plant. Can they do it?
It has come down to it. They're still not considering that plant just right outside the gate. They've got to find a way on, but it's not going to be there. Jay Chronic, Daze, and Boltsy each synchronize their watches and find their one. After getting those last eliminations, it is up to 10-5.
It's a narrow road, a very long and very narrow road, but there is a way for West Virginia to walk and win this game, drive it on to split. Make sure that this night is going to go on quite a long time. You made me realize something there, Greg, when you were talking a round or 2 ago about stalling this out. I mean, either the season ends here or you get to play at least one more stage.
It's true. I mean, this is it right here, except for the Open Division games. This is NACE Valorant. We are coming down to the wire. It's already in double digits. And look at this parade back from B as they come marching home to reconsider their options. It could be C again with only 1 defender there and an Astra Star. Q and Giza make the decision and start paving the way. They're going to grab an ult orb, which is all the foreshadowing that player's going to need. Oh, but they take him down, Giza, to find Boltsy, leaving an open sight. Steven maybe looking for some contact against Enox on the rotation. I don't know if it's going to be there, though. That's a tricky place to get through, meaning that you can't get through. So Enox is going to walk free for now, and Steven just making sure nobody is getting a mean flank onto the situation as they rotate away from C and consider B main. with just a sprinkling, just pepper to taste on A, with 2 more players holding things together. A little bit of a smoke. It may
30
even be a
seconds left.
fake to A as they come rolling in onto B. Giza, though, taking a flash to the face as the other players wrap around through A.
Ooh, that's a great pickup
Wow.
onto Giza, but Q is instantly going to put a stop to it. St. Clair with the slight advantage, 4-3. Enoch's hanging out in heaven, might try the peek out from around the corner. Taze is also waiting, looking to close in like a Venus flytrap, and immediately gets weed whacked by instinct. And St. Clair is now cruising toward another victory. Dink's trying to put a stop to it. They might just do it. There's only 1 Mountaineer left, and it's against 2, and just so little time to defuse.
Oh my goodness, they're caught right in the middle too. I don't think they anticipate one coming from behind. Oh, they did. They find it. They got to the half 2, and they grab it. Is it enough time?
Clutch.
Ooh, unbelievable, bringing it up to a 10-6. This is not a strong position, but boy, it is better than they had last time. Can they roll it all together and take it to the bank?
I don't know. Something about that just seemed off. A little too lackadaisical. I don't know if they did, if they knew really that he had already half-sticked it.
I don't think they did.
Yeah, they played like they had all the time in the world, but really, I think they expected the timer to just run out on the spike.
I think so.
They drop the spike. They'll leave that in spawn for right now as they move out through mid, try to get an initial pick. Probably going to move through the doors here towards C, or at least try to clear out B. They might be able to get this breach, but no, they rethink that. Move right back up toward the doors.
Spike's still in pocket, so they don't want any kind of a strong push to come out of C. Jay Chronic looking to change their mind about that. Grabs one and threatens pushing up, so they're going to throw in a bird flash just on the way out, saying, no, don't follow me. I'm not going anywhere, in particular. Grabs the spike, goes rushing around to B, and it's another fake smoke there. It looks like they're rolling dice on the way to where they want to go, whether it's going to be B or A, and Dink still paid so much to get this position here. The double blast pack, you got to practice it to double blast pack across and onto something, but now they know where he's at. Play against that Thrasher, just backpedaling.
I don't think he's going to be able to get up there to reclaim it. He just throws the wingman out, too.
Wow, pearls after
30
swine.
seconds left.
When 3 people are holding this angle, they're just trying to get somebody out into Dinks' line of fire, and look at that, very close to finding a 3K. Instead, they get nothing at all, low health only. They're going to drop the cabbages to make sure no one follows them, and they go just cruising into B main, looking to find Jay
10
Chronic.
seconds left. Spike planted.
Who clears those 2 moving air tags out of the way.
3 left for St. Clair. Mountaineers move in. Jay Chronic could have a nice angle against St. Clair. Boltsy clears out Steven. That leaves Heaven open. They're hanging back near door. They close in from both sides, and West Virginia still having life, bringing this to 10-7.
I just can't believe that they took 2 kills with a
There are not a pro. No charges.
with a stinger on B site, which is clearly off territory.
And we're going to have a timeout be started by West Virginia, actually, the team that's in the lead. So that's interesting. We normally see kind of a trailing team that wants to get their head back in the game, bring out the timeout. But West Virginia will use the utility they've been given and maybe just try to formulate a final strategy to push them over the hill.
I mean, you have to think about it like that. It is really just utility that is on the roster and on your tool belt, and they're just looking to dump that tool belt out. And I mean, leave it all on the field. You have to use every last method that you can to try to stave off against second place here as we close out map 2 out of what could be 2 maps in total. So it's coming really down to the wire. They've got to make these little changes to work things together and find this game if they want a chance at the title.
And I never would have expected this close of a scoreline to be
true.
brought out by such a such a ragtag collection of agents that West
is.
Virginia decided to pick.
Yeah, they really threw some odd agents into the mix here, and it's been a fun game to watch. But there's a lot of things that I don't really expect coming out. I mean, we've seen a lot of interesting plays coming from the Gecko in particular, I think, and then any location that you put that deadlock utility is one that I don't expect. So it's been fun to watch, if not fun to play. But hopefully, fun is not just the reason they're here, because they are putting up a decent fight. They've brought it up to 10-7, and if they can get these last couple pushes out to a more overtime inclusive point score.
Moving in with the Rolling Thunder right into the faces of St. Clair. Q stands firm, gets righteous payback for that, and right in the corner, the solo showstopper, putting St. Clair now back up to a 4-2 advantage. They have the time to move in, but they got to be fast about it already. West Virginia's coming in. Killjoy is spent.
Ooh.
St. Clair still doesn't have the spike down, but this Killjoy will hold Jay Chronic at bay for long enough that they will get a chance to plant.
Yeah, interesting. Another instance of the attacker Killjoy ultimate, that lockdown. It's a question. It's not, you're not demanding that space. People can still risk their life to go in and find a little bit more, and Jay Chronic is going to hold out that timer till the very end and find a free pick before he now ventures in a little bit further, making himself known just with all the pre-fires. Oh, Q gets greedy for it and is going to be punished. Chronic. Oh, absolutely grabbing everybody's. Yes.
Oh.
It's not going to be there. Oh, unfortunate. So very, very close.
St. Clair brings it up to double ones and is now just 2 away from taking home the championship crown. Very rough position. I mean, trying everything to bring it back, and I don't disrespect throwing everything you have out there in that scenario just based on where the game is. It's kind of a must-win situation, and you realize if you lose it here, then the game, it's not necessarily over, but it's very tough to come back at a scoreline like this. Still having to win 6 in a row. Interesting use of the satchel.
Oh, you don't know that meta? Yeah, throw a blast pack in the corner for good luck, I suppose. As the Saints come rolling in, they're going to be pinched pretty quickly. A lot of pressure alleviated as Q finds Jay Chronic and gets themselves away out of there. They're going to migrate straight to C, as is their right, considering that it is not being guarded. They should get an extra plant. Q and Giza each taking a pick to the grave with them. Q, 3K now. And one poor player left as Q grabs their 4 of a kind.
Match point.
St. Clair, if I'm not mistaken, just basically seemed like they took C largely 4-3.
Yeah, they did. Look at that. I mean, they had to take one player, which was
I mean, they rotated so fast through B that West Virginia was just kind of left chasing after them. By the time West Virginia had coalesced around B, St. Clair was already happily planting the spike at C.
I mean, yeah, they had plenty of players still in A trying to make their way back downtown, but here it is. This could be the final round.
Starting things off with a dash toward A. They have a huge advantage to throw out the cabbages to try to put an end to this match and give themselves the crown. Already, Boltzy's going to fall. There are just 4 left standing between them and victory. Instinct eliminates Taze. Now there's 3. They'll get a peek onto Dinks, throw out the paint shells, but it's not going to be enough to stop St. Clair, who charges in with no hesitation and claims the championship. St. Clair are your full 2023 Varsity NACE champions. Congratulations to the Saints. The trophy is going to be held in Canuck hands for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's
next year we'll see if the U.S. can rally back, but right now, great job to St. Clair.
There it is.
And a thank you to Duncan for helping us to bring all of this action that we've seen over the season towards you watching NACE Star League, and America as a whole runs on Duncan. And just a very well-deserving team. We get a chance to take a look at the overall standings. Q still staying in kind of that top-tier fragging position. managed to claim it this round, but it was a lot more evenly spaced out in terms of the kill differential. 15 for 3 members of West Virginia. I mean, they weren't the favorite team, but it wasn't like they were completely out of the range of St. Clair either. They were seeded 3rd against St. Clair's 1st. It's just that St. Clair is in a league all their own, it seems.
It's tough. You can't say that they were like dangerously outclassed here because they put up an incredible fight, and there were several halves which they put a strong fight up, in fact a winning fight, to bring themselves into some close point calls. I mean, we were almost down to the double digits both times, so a very, very close game for them, and they will take a strong silver trophy in this season. But that's not all of it. We've still got the open division left.
We still do, but until we get to then, St. Clair can bask in the glory of their championship, and I'm sure they, of all people, are going to want to see some of the top 5 plays that got them to that victory, and we'll bring them to you right now, brought to you by Mavics Gaming Chairs. Mavics, feel the difference. Congrats, St. Clair, and here's your top 5 plays. To admire all the natural scenery and tranquility for just a few minutes before all the chaos starts.
Beautiful indeed, as bright green as the grass on Ascent is strong. West Virginia is up in players. Something that hasn't happened very much this game, so they want to run with it. Giza, though, sharp, finds 2. It's
Just 5, so really it's kind of a 2v2.5. Zep will be taken out. Very little left, and that's huge. Giza trying to bring things back and clean it up, but has to take a double angle. Inox with some great positioning helps West.
for the re-hit. Enox
Thrash
throwing in that
brought
thrasher.
out. Does get the
Nothing.
stun on anybody?
Ooh,
Well, you know, who needs a stun when you just got
yeah.
mad head tapping skills? I
Oh.
mean, yeah, who needed Thrash? Toss that fish out into the ocean and just be yourself with that.
To make now only 4 players. Rolling towards a site, and the other 3 for West Virginia are making their way down.
Steph also on his molly was able to pick up one of the Mountaineers. Kind of elimination you're always happy to choose, and from a long distance and just toward another victory. Dink's trying to put a stop to it. They might just do it. There's only 1 Mountaineer left, and it's against 2, and just so little time to defuse.
My goodness, they're caught right in the middle too. I don't think they anticipate one coming from behind. Oh, they did. They find it. They got to the half 2, and they grab it. Is it enough time?
Toxic therapy from your vape.
Can't sleep? Listen to my voice. Your friends all bailed on you. Your crush thinks you're thirsty. The planet is dying. Keep obsessing till 5 a.m.
Vaping nicotine is associated with sleep problems. Find solutions at thetruth.com.
Welcome back to the NACE Star League studio. We just saw St. Clair pull off the victory against West Virginia to claim the crown for the Varsity Premier League of NACE Star League. We've got Seth joining us from St. Clair from a post-game interview. Thank you so much for joining us.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, the one thing I wanted to ask is we were kind of taking on a little bit of a roller coaster ride in terms of ascent because you built up such a strong lead with 10-2, but then after the bonus, West Virginia went on a little bit of a tear. What do you think was the turning point that kind of brought things back to you to be able to claim ascent and then move into Lotus at match point?
Honestly, for Shen, we don't really have a game plan for it. We kind of just balled up and just went off intuition calls. Once we realized stuff was really working, we took a timeout, talked about it, and then figured it out from there. And then, yeah.
Interesting. Well, it looks like it worked out. Congratulations on your 23 season. Do you guys stick together in the off season and continue repping out those hard maps, or what's your plan moving ahead until 24?
Honestly, we're just taking it day by day. Kind of just do our thing, and then whatever off-season events there are, we're obviously going to be playing in them, and then we go from there.
Well, the question was on everyone's mind, who was going to strike first in the Varsity Premier Championships? And you've made quite a name for Canada already, claiming the first title. But you've got two other teams for St. Clair that are going to be traveling in person for Overwatch 2 and Call of Duty. So do you have any pep talk, words of encouragement for the other Saints who are going to be heading down here to claim a victory in their games?
I already know the other boys got it. I keep in touch with the Call of Duty guys. And the Overwatch team has always been good for us. They all know that they just got to do their job, lock in, stay motivated, and then they'll get the dub. Everyone knows Saints is winning.
There we go. I like the confidence. Thank you so much for giving us a great show tonight. Congrats on your victory.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
You know, when you really consider that, you know, we've got seven games in person at the NACE Star League, you know, 8 including if you count Valorant. St. Clair could take 3 of them. That's such a lion's share of it just shows how good of a school they are. And considering all the games are Valorant, Overwatch, and Call of Duty, they could have a shooting trifecta and just be the undisputed champs in terms of shooter games.
Yeah, I mean, tactical shooters would be a good trophy to take all the way home, back to a different country, international, just game breakers. So I'm sure they would love to ante up and find that lion's share. But they're going to have to do it. Confidence is not enough. The games are coming up soon.
Well, speaking of a game coming up soon, we've got the Open Premier match, and we've got quite an interesting one. 2 teams that were considered underdogs in the semi got upset wins to make it to the final, so don't go away. There's still one more trophy to give out for the night. We'll be back with Open Premier after this short break.
We've seen it planted there a few times, but it's not their default. It's not their prime pick. They can still play around it, though. They're going to have to hang right underneath Hell.
Oh, Steven is pained not only with the neural theft, but with the owl drone as well. And Chronic comes in with the Odin. Boltzy also gets a wallbang onto Giza, and it's down to the... St. Clair might still take it.
Yeah, it feels like they've climbed the shelf, they got the cookie jar, and there's a child-safe lock on it, and they just can't open this darn thing. They're so close, it's in their reach, and look at these now. Back and forth defense way in on top of them. West Virginia is getting angry for this point, a blind. And
well, all of you Wingman fans out there do get to see him for the grand finals, and I approve of that. But Q is not going to be swayed by how cute the Wingman is. It's just said going to ruthlessly get a double against West Virginia, but it has narrowed down to a 3-on-3. But a util thrown out on 2. Even Saints back up and will use the Killjoy to clear things out and give St. Clair enough time to rotate over.
Just an intimidating amount of timing really slows the push there, and that defender Killjoy now.
I love this. If this raise, okay, Deadlock does seem to be aware of A, but I was saying everyone was looking one way, and they got to detain on one out. Doesn't really have anyone to see.
Yeah, not much at all. Giza is going to drop down to the lower level and look for a little bit of action. Enoch's getting in that quick plant. It's going to be the first target. Well, no, Giza finds 2 first before even considering it and just drills through that wall with a diamond bit. As the Saints come rolling in, they're going to be pinched pretty quickly. A lot of pressure alleviated as Q finds Jay Chronic and gets himself away out of there. They're going to migrate straight to C, as is their right, considering that it is not being guarded. They should get an extra plant. Q and Giza.
anticipating the fear that you thought you'd abandon, questioning ourselves. But the journey we take wasn't meant to be easy. This is not the end. This is not the end.
Seeing myself standing on the edge, about to fall. Don't know if you like to see me out there in need while I'm struggling to breathe on my own. I won't turn my back on you. Your love's the only one I know. Just one more chance is all I need. I'll lift you up and set you free. I will take you right there. I will take you right there. I will take you. I will take you. I will take you out there. I will take you out there. Running my mouth for the race I lost. It's hopeless. Puddles to oceans. Compare our devotions. Yeah, I wouldn't wanna end your party. Don't pity first or second. First want to know who you think you are. 'Cause I never thought you were so. And now everybody knows your name. I know you'll take the world over, but I hope you don't forget this place. Don't you forget about me. Don't you forget about me. I know you're chasing your dream. But if you're facing my street, don't you forget about me. Don't you forget it. Don't you forget I know it's coincidental, but I'm getting kinda mental. 'Cause every time I'm busy, yeah, your mood goes straight south. When I try to reassemble, and you're not feeling level, but I can't be the only one that's helping you out. I didn't apply to sacrifice all of myself to you. Oh, and all of my time was wasted trying to be there to get you through. Oh, I'm working the night shift, spending all of my time helping your mind shift while I'm losing mine. Working the night shift, think I'm going blind. 'Cause every time you're crying, I can't see right. Clocking in till I'm all worked out. I got a psychic now, yeah, with a therapy couch. But you attention like I pay my rent, and when the last one sank, got a brand new deck. Try to give you the benefit, give you all of my credit, but I think we come to the end of it. You've been maxing it out. I don't have much to give. Oh, I'm working the night shift, spending all of my time helping your mind shift while I'm losing mine. Working the night shift, think I'm going blind. 'Cause every time you're crying, I can't see right. You fall asleep too fast. I hope my head don't crash. Don't think that I can last. You're supportive. Sometimes I need the same. Been falling through my brain. I gave myself away. 'Cause I need you. I thought this was a two-way track. Turned around and now there's no way back. Close my eyes and drift away. Oh, I'm working the night shift, spending all of my time helping your mind shift while I'm losing mine. Working the night shift, think I'm going blind. 'Cause every time you're crying, I can't see right.
Welcome back to the NACE Star League studio. We saw St. Clair take home the Varsity Premier Championship in Valorant a little earlier, but now it's time to dole out the crown for the Open Premier Division. And boy, have we got two great teams competing. We've got Ball State University versus Central Florida. Greg, tell us a little bit about why these two teams competing here tonight is so unprecedented.
Well, I mean, for one thing, unprecedented. I was just going to say exciting. It is the finals. These are the grand finals, and this is the last match of the season for the Open Division as far as Valorant is concerned. But this is a little bit of a matchup that we didn't totally expect. I won't say there's a huge shuffling of the teams, but it's always good to see a little bit of underdogs fighting it out for a prize trophy we didn't expect to see going this direction.
And here's how unexpected this was. Ball State was going up against number 1 seeded Northwood in the semifinals. I think anyone would have put their money on the Timberwolves to win it. But the Cardinals actually got the victory, dethroned the champions who just got their crowns in Rocket League and Overwatch earlier this week. They have had their win streak ended by upstart Ball State, who was ranked 5th in the overall seeding. And that team is made up of Epic Gamer Dudian, I'm just going to call you Epic if that's all right, Tien, Rebo, Fraggleton, and Choku.
And Central Florida are bringing out their 5 best players: Rudy, Sniper, Jason, Squirmer, and Scotty.
Now, not to offsell the Knights at all, because they, in their semifinal, went up against Winthrop University. Central Florida is seeded 3rd, but Winthrop was seeded 2nd. I think everyone was expecting a Northwood-Winthrop final, but both upset wins happen. I always love to see something like that. I'm getting kind of sort of flashbacks to last year's Overwatch season when Boise State and UT Dallas both pulled off upset victories in their semifinals. It gave us a finals that no one was expecting. So history is going to repeat itself, or if not repeat itself, just rhyme a little bit in terms of the Valorant finals for this year. And we have got the maps all lined up, and they're going to be pretty similar to what we saw in the Varsity Championship as well. We're going to be starting off on good old Ascent and then Lotus. So first 2 maps, if it is a sweep, then we'll be seeing exactly the same throughout it. The only difference is what's chosen for the 3rd map. That's going to be Bind.
I mean, talk about history rhyming. This is what we've seen all season. This is the quintessential debut of many teams on the stage, or these 3 maps, or at least this season. And it's been fun to, and I said this for the last game, it's been fun to compare the ways that teams approach these 3 maps, though a lot of them are very similar. We've seen a lot of mirror matchups. We recently saw an absolute jumble of a matchup, which was nowhere near mirror, and it was interesting to see that play out too. So I'm excited to see how these underdog teams, and which will be the victor, what they're going to bring out onto the field for these 3 maps. So it should be pretty much nailed down how Ascent is going to play out. And I say that now with a grain of salt, but we should be seeing a pretty typical rollout for that one.
Should be. I mean, we did see a little bit of a surprise with the Cypher pick last time, but I doubt these 2 teams are going to go in that direction. We're seeing the loadouts, everything, that we all know. You go with the double initiator comp with the KO and Sova. KJs are locking for your Sentinel, and of course, good old Jet.
Yeah, everything kosher as normal, and on those 2 controllers, or the 2 initiators in the controller we looked over. That Omen is going to be locking things in, adding a little bit more vision denial, because this map doesn't expressly call for it, much like the more open maps do, like Breeze and Lotus, where we see Viper is an absolute must pick. Rudy and Rebo are going to be sporting the Omens well enough, and as we just tick down towards that Riot Zero, looking for Jason and Scotty to lock it in after they've settled their keyboard, chosen their DPI of choice, set the RGBs to the optimum gamer setting.
And I think I won't call him by Epic. It is clear that his name is Ian. It's Epic Gamer Dude Ian. So I'll refer to him as Ian
I like
rather than
that.
Epic. Although,
work,
depending
Ian.
on his performance, probably it's just fine being referred to as Epic as well.
Or Dude.
All right, here we go. We're gonna. Seems like Central Florida is gonna rely on the good old Riot Zero. And there we go. Everything's loaded in. We've got our standard mirror match on Ascent, and boy, this is gonna be a fun match because, I mean, Ball State is seeded 5th, and this is Ball State going up against Central Florida, the Cardinals versus the Knights in the Open Division Grand Finals. Who's going to be the grand champion for fall 2023?
Yeah, grand champion to be the 5th seed and the 3rd seed. It's exciting, and I mean, that's why we have whole leagues of competitions beforehand instead of just taking the preseason and throwing them into the line like that.
The thing is the Ball State, they're seated 5th, so you'd think that they would be the underdogs, but there's got to be something said for the team that managed to take out Northwood. I mean, that is such a tough task, and the fact that BSU actually managed to do it, I'm thinking I'm giving the advantage over to them to win this one. They're going to start things off mainly focusing on weapons. A lot of ghosts being brought out. Only thing that isn't a ghost is going to be Ian. And we're off to the races. Little chip damage immediately placed onto Scotty. BSU focusing a lot right now on B. They only have one holding down A, and that's where the majority of UCF is going to be heading.
Yeah, that split push onto A may have just been a little bit of a taxi over for that ult point. Good to see them managing down to just the micro levels for these. Oh, Rebo!
Oh, they weren't expecting it at all!
No, takes one for free, which is a beautiful start to the round, bringing them down to a 3-3 as they make that plant with nearly no support. I mean, both sides are rushing to the site to get a taste for anything. Ian on the Raptors gets a couple good shots off, but Jason's going to win that little skirmish, making it out with less than 40 health. Bonus is up to a Sheriff to take a few shots. Oh, look at this pepper damage. A lot of people are getting a few shots in before they go down, which is interesting to see.
First one heading over to BSU. And I mean, my goodness, I mean, that was so much, and for such a common angle too, that's rough that they didn't check that one. Looked to the left, but didn't look to the right and up at all, and it was easy pickings. And now I think we see where Tien wants to be heading. He wants to be heading into the op direction, and you gotta remember, without shields, that Marshall is gonna be just as deadly.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a gamble though, because he's really reaching for the credits here, trying to get that op going. He's let down his shields as well. So he's a bit of a glass cannon here. And as we see this spread coming out again, 4 people running straight up the catwalk, making their way around some empty threat vision denial, where Fraggleton is lying in wait behind. But look, the pixels just off of his right-hand sleeve are going to let the opponent know exactly where his head is, and that is game for him. Rebo looking to bonus it up and finding Rudy as he comes around the corner. BSU's TN now watching the typical angles with the Marshall, but under flash, just have to take a couple of shots, try to get out of there. It's uncomfortable as they dive into the air, toss off a couple of Marshall shots aimlessly toward the wall.
Oh, this is a nice cross angle they have against Ian. How's he gonna take this one?
Sniper and
Spike
Squirmer
slowly ticking down.
building a good 50-50. Jason so low on health, just hoping to run the clock out. Choka
Last player standing.
goes down to Jason. Tien finds one, and so do Ian.
Last player standing.
On a 1v1 in the last second, Scotty, with all the flick in the world, is going to take it to a low health player. Excellently done. Bonus up a better weapon, and there is .1.
Now this puts a huge dent in BSU's want to start sniping out.
That's true.
Because, I mean, this puts they're gonna have to wait until at least, I mean, I guess at best case scenario round 5 to do that. They wanted to bring it out as soon as that bonus was over.
Yeah, it is an uncomfortable position credit-wise. I mean, they're still doing fine. They're just going to take, they're going to be mature about it and take an eco here, grab a couple of sheriffs and no shields. And go rolling in right towards the mid. Another split push. It looks like UCF is comfortable playing separate. This could be a messy situation on the defense. We might see a lot of them bringing out the occasional flank as they're making their rotation over from AB City. They're stacking up, dropping a little bit of utility just to make sure no one's hot on their trail as they all gather together for another meeting in the garage.
Deploying drone.
With this flank that's coming through from BSU, they're slowly claiming mid. Central Florida moves in to get the plant. They're in hot pursuit very soon here. They might actually get the spike planter if no one is looking backwards. They round the corner, and this KJ taken out, doesn't even know what hit him. That'll be a free gun given over to BSU as they now try the retake. On to B. TN is going to dislodge Squirmer away from the spike. You still got Sniper hanging out, makes contact, immediately takes out Repo. There's just TN to take a 1-on-2. Will he be able to do it? He's got to go up against full health back up in the boathouse, and the double peek, the flick over. He might actually do this. He's got the tailwind. It's going to put the smoke down. Try to get it on the doorway. He can know where he is from the dart, but that spike is ticking down. I don't know if he can actually close it out. He doesn't, and UCF will go up to a 2-1.
As Jason finds point 3 for his KDA, and that was an intense third point of the game. These are truly the grand finals. 2v1 and not in the way that you would expect. And finally, that op comes out, point 4.
So you know what? I take back what I said. They were going to have the op round 4 regardless. When you have a drive, you have a drive. And they have expensive tastes all around. Not only the op, but they'll bring out the Odin for the traditional B-site setup. That wall bang into Fish Market. Love to see it.
As you should, and it just might pay off as we have got a few people waiting up in the B area, the B main. Looks like they're considering some serious push through mid if they can. But there's a pretty centered hold on mid as it is now. What with one in grass, one at the very back site looking into market.
Playing this a bit gingerly, still have a minute to decide where they want to head. Blinding thrown out and some action happening in Garden, but it's quickly disengaged from.
Yeah, Jason backs all the way off out of that contact, and so does his opponent, as they're gonna hold the defense from quite a distance. BSU leaving people on the rafters at best. Sniper slapping the wrist of anybody who reaches forward. Gonna drop a cloudburst to assist in a rush. Oh, and look at that. Very close to taking out that Sova, but it's not quite gonna be there. From Boathouse, 2 people lie in wait. Does the call go out? Sniper just trying to watch their 6 here. Does catch one, spying out of the corner. Oh, and as the smoke goes down, the trade is finished. Scotty now looking to take care of that op if he can, but he's just not a part of the conversation yet. Everybody else is on the site. Though having 3 people on the site is a strong position, and you do not want to be throwing an op away charging into that. So it looks like it's going to be a good save for Ball State, and UCF is going to go rolling into point 3.
No need to be too risky here. We'll just give the round over. Bit of a shame. In a save situation, you would hope that maybe you're able to get at least 2 frags against them, but they're only going to have to settle for 1. Hope that the Knights are going to be greedy enough to go after them, which isn't going to really be the case. They'll just move back up into B lobby. Spike will go off, and we'll move on to round 5. Not only the op was being held too, but they might have also held on to the Odin as well. Saved the 2 most expensive guns that they for sure don't want to lose.
Yeah, not a bad thing to hold on to, considering it's really a one-trick pony, and they didn't get a lot of use from it.
Nope, they don't have it.
Oh,
Instead, it was picked up by the Knights. And they're just going to do a hard charge through Fish Market. They're going to meet the under end of a knife, but they just use the... No, they aren't able to use anything.
Goodness.
They are suppressed.
That suppression comes out strong and really stops that push. A shame we didn't get to see the Sova on Odin on B site, even if it was attacking. Look at that dangerous jump across the gap.
Still took damage.
Lucky Ian was not punished as much as he maybe should have been. Rudy making a cheeky hop across the valley here. Maybe Ian should take notes. That is the more effective way to get across a hot gap. Rudy, you can see, is just itching to get up into tree. Ooh, and a strong flash coming out. Not much is going to make off of that, but it does kind of slow the game down. And when 50 seconds are all that's left in the clock, UCF has got to make some space here, throwing in the knife.
They've just gradually been picking one by one of the Cardinals off. And meanwhile, oh, that Sova, he already had enough problems with Scotty. Would have been a nasty flank, but Scotty was able to take care of business beforehand. And you've just got this one Cardinal sitting in the corner in mid. Just doesn't want to get flanked from any angle whatsoever.
No, no way. And they are taking just pixel by pixel, making their way slowly around, being very, very diligent, very, very deliberate on making sure he doesn't get the peek on them. But that's not at all what he's looking for, so I doubt we find any kind of an outro contact here in this round. Sure enough, Jason is just going to keep on looking. But it's not going to be there. Everybody is set their citadel in stone. And they're just holding out until the buzzer goes off.
Not much to say, you know. I wasn't quite expecting the round to turn out like this. We've just seen a lot of very
If we go easy on them,
cautious
they will
gameplay
never
by
let
Ball
us.
State University, and I'm left asking myself the question, this was the team that defeated Northwood?
It's interesting.
I like that placement. That's probably my favorite I've ever seen. That's beautiful.
The Penguin's got a lot to say.
So now there's the problem. They don't have the op to save anymore. He's going to
Ugh.
have to rely on the knives.
Yeah, but you know who does have that op?
Yes, I mean, everything that BSU has purchased, the Knights have been more than happy to take away.
No, the Christmas has come early for the Knights. As the Cardinals just keep printing guns for them. Rebo holding strong this area are going to take quite a bit of damage if they don't pop out. Not going to be there. Squirmer shuts them down with the Vandal. A quick end that calls Fraggleton to the front lines. Though they've already played off of it. Not being greedy, Squirmer takes their one and backs out. Ooh, and the flashbangs back and forth don't bear well for anybody as Squirmer and Fraggleton both find one. Bringing the playfield down to a 3v4. Scotty. Ooh,
My
all of the
goodness.
pre-aim. All of it. Pre-aim bank owns Scotty money. Looking to lead the charge in as Rudy and Jason and company are making their way around. Someone, Fraggleton in particular, coming from the back is going to be taken care of by Scotty, and that's a wrap on point.
Everything falling apart for BSU, and I was
Really?
just about to mention. So these teams are dialed in on these timeouts, and yeah, I think you gotta call it right here. They're going to be going into an economy round, so might as well set their mentals correct for that state of mind, but then start to get some sort of strategy going, because I've seen hardly any, forget the rounds just not going in their way, I'm seeing hardly any one-on-ones that are going their way.
Yeah.
Even when they're standing there in a corner holding down an angle, it's the attacking team, the one that has to peek out around the corner, that's winning constantly.
Yeah, it's an uncomfortable momentum position that they would love to arrest here and get better situations coming down. I feel like these firefights are lasting a bit longer. I mean, in the last game we saw people were pretty much TTK instantly, but now you get a chance to jump around a little bit, and a lot of people are running around the map on lower health, so it could be a technical mindset thing that they need to dial in and really be finding those flicks.
And maybe it was just a thing all the way back at round 2. You're not expecting to lose that round, and Ball State, they started out very well, but you know, maybe you lose round 2 and then the bonus comes after that, which you lost, which isn't quite the traditional bonus, but you know what I mean. It's just you lose a round that you're expected to win, and then things just start piling up from there. They kind of need to just slam on the brakes right now.
Yeah.
And bring out a judge to turn things around.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the trick right there. Every professional I've ever interviewed said when things are going rough, just whip a judge out. If you can't afford it, just go on small shields. Won't be a problem.
Big judge players make big judge plays.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And the game just feels a little bit loose right now. It just needs to be tightened up in a few areas for the machine to run smoothly. This is a nice split that hopefully they can take all the way home. Scotty shutting them down, finds 3 of a kind to begin with. No defense for him, not for today. all the way off to the mud and getting that plant in nice and early. Now,
Spike planted.
they're absolutely locked in with the door down.
But
And
he
op.
has the judge. This is what he's
This
been
is here.
training
This is what
for.
it is. You could also ult behind them and judge your way back through.
Timer's ticking, but this is what you've signed up for. This is your moment. This is where you shine.
Knife the door. And judge your way in there.
Well, I love watching paint dry as much as the next guy, but they are really taking their time with
Is
this.
saving behind the door? Is he looking for a dramatic outro?
Okay, now moving in.
Maybe he was. What?
Oh, he's just going for the op.
Maybe I
They
was wrong.
dropped the
Maybe I was
op.
wrong. That's crazy.
You know what? I'll take that.
Oh,
no, he dropped
no.
it at the very end. No.
It's on the activity feed. That's set in stone. Oh my goodness.
I mean, that's next level gameplay. Realizing
Look at this.
that
I was like, what is he doing? And unbelievable.
But
the
he
work
falls
he put in for it.
the end. Needless to say, that was not a big judge play.
Oh,
I'm
check
disappointed.
and mate. It was so close though. It was almost so cool. What a shutdown. Opless. Everybody's opless.
Now BSU will have to purchase that with their own credits. That's going to force a lot of them onto small shields. Spike being left in the pocket to start out with for the Knights. Slowly just waiting, being pretty cautious. They're not letting these wins really go to their head and making too many careless plays. They're still playing this like they should. This angle being held down by TN. Hard on Fish Market. There's a drone. It doesn't bait out any sort of shot. Will he move out around based on it? Has? Oh no, lets the shot rip and tailwinds away. Now that's good information given over to Central Florida. Teleports over to A.
Little shadow step on across the way. For the Knights Omen. Looking to make their way up, bringing up the rear. Oh, it's an ultimate jump to Wine, which wasn't necessarily contested territory. Must be in a real time scramble. Rudy and Sniper going to take one to avenge their friend Swimmer. About to go down. Sniper finds another. It's looking good as the plant comes down in the last few seconds. BSU, 2 players, have a full clock to make their way onto campus here.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, one goes down. Jason with the Odin, and that was a little bit fast for an Odin. Doing very well. One left in tree to kind of hang out. They might want to make their way around, but it's not obvious where they're at until right now. Ian, where can you go from here? And Sniper, good of us to catch the angle right there, is going to move the op. Oh, no. Throws the op away for a Vandal.
Just, you know, from the front.
So it looks like they did not value the op that much, and they're going to take a Vandal on into the next round. That may be why they dumped the op in the first round, where Big Judge Plays had to go steal it.
Now we've got another economy round being brought out for Ball State. Really tough to see how they claw this back. Best case scenario is that they pull off a thrifty and at least push this to a 7-5. They're going back for the judge, but I don't know if it's really a judge play or just an elaborate ruse to try to steal one of their guns.
The judge didn't really get to see a lot of action its first time.
No, it didn't.
So, you know what? I say it deserves it. And the
It's
Odin
an
come out as
awful
well.
long angle to be holding with an Odin, but
It is.
you do
but
you.
Somebody has to hold the angle. Spike in pocket as they're slowly inching towards A site, and nobody is watching it. Oh, flashed. By who? Did they throw a molly or a flash out of tree?
You know, we're just going to ignore that. Keep moving on.
Yeah, it looks like they were quite intimidated by A and are going to make the rotation around to B, giving up their beautiful Odin spot across the mid. As they first arrival on Garage calls for the drone to check out the deep angles.
And it was kind of a bet going for the judge. They're trying to decide which angle they want to go, and now that is being established that B is going to be the plant. I do not want to try to retake B with the judge. This is going to be rough if the rest of BSU falls. Fraggleton trying to move, and Sniper with a double. Just turning the ratchet in tighter around the Cardinals, and there is just nothing left that Repo can do. One judge, a classic, and a dream.
I feel like I seen this frame earlier, except the door was closed. Oh, they're going to go rolling in. They know exactly where he's at now. Scotty seriously considering making that first melee-style contact as he jumps around the corner and he grabs one flawless. Take for the attacking side. The Knights from UCF find .8. What a roll.
Now look at the KDA for every member of Ball State. It isn't just that one player. They're all struggling equally. Their top player has 5, 7, and 1 on their KDA. They just can't win any of these one-on-ones, even if they're holding an angle and planning on it. I don't know if their reflexes are down or they just didn't have their monster energy or something, but they just aren't winning these face-offs with the Knights.
3 suppressed.
3 suppressed right off the bat. Great information for Fraggleton.
Yeah, a well-leveraged knife, definitely. If nothing else, it is a good deterrent to hit the site just quite yet. So they're going to be holding off and waiting for a re-hit on that same site. A couple people in the most exposed angle in the game on top of an arch in mid. Sniper staying true to their name here from the offest angle they could find. I don't think they're going to be peaked, especially considering that defense is just running the clock. In the next 20 seconds, they'll have to decide. Another knife coming out for a quick suppression. Fraggleton making some uncomfortable eye contact. Just going to run away and get some of that util back on the playing field.
Push up mid-market with not much resistance. Overtakes the casual peak, but that's smoked off. We'll smoke off the other sideline coming in from Defender spawn. Give themselves some cover and start to close the door behind them. Killjoy thrown down by Ball State. There is no Hunter's Fury to stop it, but they will use the other attacker Killjoy. Create the Venn diagram of death, and does anyone get caught in it? 2 players detained!
Oh, but they're looking to defend those players. It's not going to happen. Last 4 seconds, just not there. And with 1 health left, Choku goes rolling into the mud and finds one. Ridiculous. Going to get an easy defuse on a plant which was just barely planted in fractions of a second.
I have no idea what's going on.
That was
you get 2 players detained and your team still falls.
To a man with
a 1 health. What happened?
You couldn't give that man a haircut without him falling over dead.
Oh my. I'm gonna take another drink. I have no words for how this is turning out. This is such a bizarre way that this game is playing out. Now we got 2 judges too. Okay, no, only 1 judge.
Okay, well.
Okay, we're keeping a little bit of sanity here. I
just
appreciate
the same
that.
amount of sanity that we have had for the last couple rounds. But like I said, it just feels like it's a race for either team to unwind the other one's sweater, and that's not exactly how it works, because the faster you run, the more damage you're doing to yourself as well. So there's just string everywhere, everyone just feels cold and alone, and it just feels a little bit messy.
First blood given over to Tin, but it's traded back. Now we're down to 4 apiece. No one holding down Boathouse, so pretty open for Central Florida to move in and get the spike down early. We'll see the command null brought out, as well as a Hunter's Fury, but I think it's suppressed. That is unfortunate right there. I mean, managing to silence an ultimate, that's pretty good. Still though, 2 left for Central Florida and they fall, so BSU will go up to 3 at least, so the best that the Knights can hope for will be a 9-3.
And it won't be out of the question to ask for it. Considering their history so far.
Last round before the switch.
And one last round before we end what has been a very odd first half. How I wouldn't have expected it. I mean, after winning the first pistol round, Cardinals just imploding, managing to find a little bit of recovery in the final few rounds. UCF getting a big score to start things off. And they have an op to attack with as well. Not only that, but should that op fail, they've also got knives. Knives are also going to be brought out by TN, trying to find a good initial first peek. Maybe trying to work with Sova to maybe get a dart ping and move in. Jason currently taking the long sideline down mid. Bit of fire, but doesn't find anything. Gonna wait for that owl drone. See, nope. Just gonna hold on to that owl drone, I suppose.
Yeah, and staying nice and stable in A site as well, which is exactly what BSU is looking for, a very stable situation on their shift here in the defense for the Radianite, but that is not what Sniper has in plans. In the next couple of seconds, he'll be forced to go rolling in with the op, and wow, he takes it, the offensive op doing excellent. Now, he doesn't bonus up the weapon either, goes full greed, and comes rolling in with the knives. He knows one's in hell, and he just might find it jumping around. Misses a few, the vision denial's out, runs out of options and has to switch back to the op from melee range, firing through the smoke. May have got a body shot there. Nope, not gonna happen.
Falls in a close range battle to the shorty, and BSU managing to recover in the last few rounds, has it up to 4-1 and just not enough time for Scotty to plant. Cardinals will go into the second half attacking. And they did pretty well on the last pistol round, so they should win it. It's just, I never would have expected that the second round, the one that they have the gun advantage in, would be the most up in the air.
Turret out.
But they seem to be in good spirits, just putting a few sprays down, showing that they are ready and raring to go at their first time attacking. We've seen the KDA start to trend a bit more favorably. TN is now, he's now out of the red and into the black, 11-9-3. Everyone else still has a deficit. Scotty, meanwhile, 14-5-2, leading up the Knights.
It's a split push with the early committal. I mean, with a pace that we haven't seen in a lot of previous rounds, moving that spike right on towards A. Knights are ready for it and send two players over there. Oh, maybe they weren't that ready. And look at this, only one player left. It's Rudy in the A site. Sending in a few more players, Rebo and Fraggleton in particular, to try to regain the lost spike against Rudy, who resides in Hell. Rebo looking to make that contact. Smoke is about to drop. And a second player comes out of the work. Fraggleton don't make it a 1v1, but he finds it on an alt fire. Plant should be within their grasp, but now a flank has come around.
Yeah, and now the thing is, yeah, this KO is watching over it.
Oh,
Catches them by surprise, a nasty ambush, and now there's only one left with people on all sides, and worst case scenario now for Ball State. They just, it's probably going to be going to 10-4 for UCF, and that's such a turnaround that Ball State is going to have. I mean, they got a 3-round win streak at the very end of the first half, but
yeah, if we see this going around, going down in a typical 2-1 fashion, would we expect the bonus shakedown to do so? We're looking at either an 11-5 or a 6-10. Oh, wow.
He's already unleashing punishment onto Ian.
From just next to nowhere to your house, $0 shipping fee.
Look out for TN here. Doesn't I'm going to respect this angle. He's currently waiting it out.
Ooh,
Doesn't
another.
even, isn't even aware.
Express delivery. Sniper finds one with a Marshall, and a good shot on a no shields means game over for that player. Brown, no, sorry, down to a 3 and 5. Oh, Squirmer can't defend the home turf. Choku finds it before going down. Fraggleton brings it to a 1-up. Now it's a 2 and 3 as they make their way on the site, but the spike is already down. BSU recovers the spike, but getting this plant is just out of arm's reach as Rudy is right around the corner. Closes the gap alongside Jason, who finds their twofer for the round.
I mean, it definitely seems like a making lemonade out of lemon situation that they still managed to find 2 picks, despite having a really rough start to that round. We'll move up to all rifles.
And look at this ragtag bunch of arms coming from the Knights, on the other hand. Considering an Odin, maybe even an Ares to come out. They've got just a little bit of everything in this next round.
Despite having that Odin, Jason taking a very long angle up through mid. Knife thrown out, gonna detect a lot of Ball State.
Shadows traveling.
Really throwing out a bit of util and just some sight blocking on A, but there's only one person there to lurk. Seems like BSU really, if they're going to want to push over to A, then they're going to throw smoke down in mid and then rotate over through Gardens for a coordinated push. Starting to try to fish out someone from mid-market. Problem is this Jet is waiting right around the corner, but looking the wrong way, and TN punishes that severely.
Amidst the smoke as well. The blind. He was totally blind and just did a strafe there and found it. Now, BSU players are flowing on over to the A site, looking to bring the spike up in the expected manner while sending a player through, looking for a little bit of a pinch on the catwalk into tree.
30 seconds left.
Ooh, that push through the door is respected, and the Squirmer from the top is going to have to do something about it. Jason going crazy.
My goodness!
That was ridiculous. Dead would just went absolutely to the stars and back with that Odin, and Rudy hanging out in the corner takes a mean ambush onto the last player. That was ridiculous. I'd clip that. That was crazy.
That is the dart of the century.
I mean,
Many pains he didn't need to see. He just needed to see the outlines from his utility, and he had it. That's very well played. And it's on their 3rd round as well. They won their bonus. Central Florida came here to play. I mean, this is probably one of the biggest, implosions I've seen from a team in terms of Ball State. I mean, they got off to such a good start in their pistol round, and then after that, such a huge lose streak. Weren't even able to bring it back after their time out.
A knife coming
Florida
out.
has just been consistently good. Squirmer with a little bit of running gun still manages to find it. Rudy will take out Rebo. TN gets 1 pick against Sniper, but it's still an advantage both in terms of people and guns for the Knights.
Squirmer flushes back to check the flank instead of taking care of those last 2 that were suppressed off the knife. And wow, look at this. Where are they going? Do they know where the site's at? Absolutely catching people off guard. Is it enough? They do. In 3 shots total, they find a kill. And TN's going to make their way back around as Ian is closing things up in another neck of the woods. And look at this nice slow defense, looking to consider thinking about a world where they imagine rotating. In the meantime, they'll just hang out in mid and wait till they hear this noise. And the fight is on. The spike has been planted, and 3 players on the BSU team are already locking up shop for the summer.
Gonna hang out in L, try to have the cross angle. Oh, gets Fraggleton down to a very low amount of health. Shock Dart also gonna do a bit of chip damage against the Jet. And just takes the wallbang through the floor to pick off Fraggleton. Take 1 for free and another 1 on top of that. It's just the KJ left. You can body block and defuse at this point.
Yeah, have the Odin just drill the corner and put the other guy on defuse.
I mean, they did it the other way around, but it still worked out.
I wanted to absolutely drill a corner and then just run and gun, just like walk around and sweep. I think the Odin is what I'd have.
They didn't. Maybe they should have actually done that and just tried to, because they didn't defuse the spike. I was already thinking they had it, but
It went off?
yeah, the spike went off. I thought for sure they had enough time and we were already moving on. But you know what? They should have gone more in on that protect the president thing. You should have
goodness.
switched sides. Have that Odin just start firing. No matter what happens, anything they peek out, they're going to get melted instantly and defuse.
Jason spending his last credits to get that Odin. He still does have the Hunter's Fury, so maybe there's a little bit of logic to it, but wow, they're holding on tight to these safety guns. They're going to be sending around that spiked player on their way to A. As a massacre and a half happens at A. It is a quick turnaround, an absolute about face to get the spike somewhere else. They're still considering coming up tree, but they've already got 2 people holding that angle pretty strong. Look at this one. A little bit of a flash there. The Hunter's Fury already coming out to ask them a question. Do you stay or do you go? Squirmer waiting at the gates for him. Goes down, but Rudy is here to avenge his death and grab them point 12. What a flush that round was.
Match point.
Sure
don't get
enough. Sure enough. That was why I've got so much to think about. For one thing, Ball State University did a great job of watching the clock and staying right on top of that, and despite a beautiful protect the president lineup, just kept jiggle peeking their way to victory and lit the clock on fire.
I'm a little less concerned about the jiggle peeking and more the dashing right through the smoke blindly onto the point.
Yeah, we saw a lot of crazy action. This last round was pretty intense as well. I can understand why they might be taking a little bit of a break here, as this could be the last round of this map, meaning that they're so close to the end of the season and it's down to prolonging the timer.
One thing I'm noticing that's kind of a real difference from what we saw at the varsity level as we go down to the open level is there's a lot more shakiness on the crosshair placement. I think a few rounds back we saw a showdown where one person had a rifle, the other had a judge, and I see the first, not a judge, excuse me, a sheriff, and the first sheriff shot is a body shot. I'm thinking, oh, it's done now, you know, the rifle just gets it down. It took 3 shots with the sheriff, and still the sheriff won because the rifle sights were so off. So
I remember that.
Kind of that peeking out around the corner, the insta-tap, that gameplay that we're seeing from St. Clair, it hasn't been in the wheelhouse for these 2 teams yet. We've seen a lot of very questionable decisions be made. I mean, I get it, you know, it takes a lot of practice to be able to be pixel perfect and getting your headshots, but there are also certain things like...
There's certain things that are worth the practice.
Certain things worth the practice.
Oh,
but just,
wow. Another 2K with the Odin because people were lined right up, and TN finds 2 with the knives before Rudy talks back. These combo kills are falling in left and right. Look at the massacre that has laid an absolute armory of arms to just hang out. Oh, this could be tough. Yeah. I was going to say entry, and that's it for game 1.
GG's go out, but I have so many questions. I'm just wondering, where's the team that defeated Northwood? That's the match I want to go back and look at what happened there. Because the Timberwolves were rated #1, had a huge advantage over Ball State, and then despite that first pistol round that went in their favor, they had a few rounds here and there, but I really wasn't sold. I want to know what happened specifically in that semifinal. I wish there was a VOD of it because I was wholly expecting an upset to be coming here, but it almost seemed like they had sort of resigned themselves to losing at the final few rounds there. I mean, they were just charging in blindly, sometimes right past a smoke, using their abilities to get in, abilities that are normally used as your get out of jail free card. They're just blindly charging through smoke with them.
I mean, we've talked about this before on stage. It doesn't matter how good you've been in the past or how good you were even that morning. It has to be now that you perform. And a lot of those are mindset things, and a lot of those are momentum things, but you have to get those under the belt and behind you in order to find that victory, because all of the comp matches that you had before this, even if you perform twice as well, this is what it comes down to. It comes down to right here, and they have to be performing at that caliber. If they're going to be taking on the championship and defeating some of the #1 seat players, they have to be able to do it every single time they're asked to.
Well, we could be seeing University of Central Florida taking away the championship in the Open Premier Division. They just have one stage left to conquer, and that's going to be Lotus, and the Knights will be attacking first on Lotus. So, you know, they were able to run up a good score against BSU in the first one on Ascent. Still was... it wasn't 13-9 though. It was 13-5. Believe me, I was wondering if I had immediately faced into an alternate reality because I do not remember the scoreline being that close. It was 13-5. So Lotus, you know, we were talking a little bit about it being one of the trickiest maps to defend, and so with Central Florida attacking first and just seeming like they're the team that just. I mean, I'm seeing some shakiness in terms of both teams, in terms of the pure mechanics of the crosshair placement and being able to land headshots, but I'm not seeing anything from UCF or the Knights that I'm just outright questioning the strategy of.
Yeah, and I totally get that. So starting off on a strong attack on the Lotus side would be really strong for them. We've seen a lot of split plays here. I mean, we see in the last game a lot of just 5-stack one position, and if things look absolutely rough, you can turn around. But this has been a lot messier play, and in some ways, that's good. It's good to keep things, you know, on their respective toes and be ready for a lot of weird reach arounds. But this map in particular is asking for it. It is an incredibly mobile map, so I expect to see a lot more flanks and a lot more semi-commits to a couple of different sites and then mine changes. So this could be a messy one.
One thing that I was not, of all the unexpected plays that happened, I think the highlight has to be the picking of the judge, waiting until everyone walks in after the spike is detonating, picking up the op, which they didn't take with them or even just throw over the edge. They just left it there for the other team, picks it up, and then goes down with a millisecond remaining. I mean, everything that I thought I knew about this game is just being thrown out the window for these plays, and tonight has just been an honor. Here we get to see it right here. Exactly. This was
the one right
afterwards.
after.
Yeah, this is the one right after. Okay, I got
But it's very much the same mindset. Like a lot of hanging out, waiting for outros when the round hasn't ended yet with that judge is so strange.
And here's the thing: is the constant thing that was really getting Ball State is even if they were holding angles defensively, they just couldn't win any sort of single face-off. They were consistently losing them.
Yeah, the semi-saves, getting greedy for an extra outro frag and end up losing something so late in the round it actually registers on the next round's activity feed. Something that we did not anticipate seeing. Of course, the matchup in general has not been anticipated. This is a weird situation for the Open Division bracket. Like you said, there's been quite a few upsets, and we may just, in a strange way, see another one today.
Well, let's get into the agent picks for Lotus, see what both these teams want to bring out. If we'll have any more surprises, but things are looking pretty standard so far in our first few picks. There's only a few questions left as to who picks what.
So far, everything is shaking out just how we would expect it to. Rudy maintaining their position on the controller. It's going to be rotating over to something a little bit more versatile size-wise, as Rudy's util is going to take up a lot more area and be very helpful on the smokes. We're going to see that Raze come out in the duelist position for both teams. Another very mobile character as far as duelists go. You've got to have those walls. That's something I really missed in the last game that we watched on Lotus, is having those Viper walls and having the constant threat of a Viper's pit from either side. And of course, these KJs that we're considering mirroring, depending on how well this 0 goes, are also going to be very nice to have. As far as mobility, they're not as mobile as a Cypher, but it does help really lock down C and a lot extra defense to mid and B to try to get rid of any wraparounds. But here it is, Ball State playing against the Knights.
UCF versus Ball State, Cardinals versus Knights. Cardinals need to bring it back to a game 3. In the game they played against Northwood, it did go all 3 games, so maybe they can stage a comeback. But there are a lot of questions going into Lotus about how they're going to recover from what happened on Ascent. Will UCF just continue on the performance that we have seen throughout this match? And will both championships in Valorant, the Varsity and Open Division, be claimed in 2-0 sweeps? Getting down to the first few purchases. A lot of ghosts being brought out by BSU, but instead it's going to be a few more sheriffs, actually. And, you know, if you're consistently winning gunfights and have the overall better advantage in terms of accuracy, then I don't blame you for just going sheriff.
One thing for sure, they're not going to be leaving a lot of credits on the floor. Though it doesn't seem it, they're really putting a lot into this first pistol round. I'd like to see some high energy and really get in there. Choku setting off the first couple of rounds against the vision denial. These smokes, which are a telltale sign of a Viper around the corner if it weren't for the wall in your face. As we have both of the typical Viper walls coming out, one across and one along, and it's a first push onto C. Never mind the Viper on A. In the C side, we have plenty of Killjoy utility, which is being slowly whittled away by players seeking it out because they know it's there. This is a very typical matchup. A lot is on the table to begin with. And here it is. Just like we talked about, they're going to feel it out. They poke around on A, they consider C, and then they back up.
And I also see why that KJ on attack went with the Sheriff, because if you're going for abilities for a potential post plant, that's risking a lot, assuming that you're going to successfully make it all the way to the point end plant. So I can just see if you're in a situation where you're attacking, just going for the pure offense.
And the re-rotate comes out, and it is strong. A is empty, an absolute desert, just ready for their taking. And as they move northward, Manifesting a Destiny has come to an abrupt stop as Rebo with the Ghost finds one and looks to get more. Choku trying to put their name on the leaderboard, does a good bit of damage, is going to send out this concussive Trailblazer, which doesn't find very much, but it does scare back a couple of players. Fraggleton with a 2-piece, followed by TN bringing it to a 5-0. That's going to be a flawless defuse.
Nice start for Ball State, but it very closely mirrors how they started out on Ascent, and we know how that turned out. So in about 4 to 5 rounds, get back to me and I'll tell you whether they have fully recovered or not, because we have had a lot of surprises here in the pistol rounds, the first few.
Moving into round 2, we see a Marshall, which is looking to fight against the stereotypes, where Ball State wins this point and UCF takes the next one.
It's not as good going into a team that's winning, though, because they have those shields up, so they're...
That's true.
Yeah, so...
second round pick
forces
Marshall
the
for
headshot.
the buy team. You're right. It's a little bit... It definitely drops your surface area, and you've got to be a good technical player, and I think we're a little bit worried about
But it's
the
also
flick potential.
a really cheap gun.
It is a cheap gun, and you know, that's nice. We take those. It is a strong
In this
foot in the
inflation-ridden-
sand about A, and look at this. We could be having a little bit of flank. First flank of the map, at least. As Choku is holding people at bay here, just being threatening every once in a while, and Scotty unwavering on this angle. Exactly when you look away is always
that
when they're
rule
there.
of thumb is keep
Yep.
it for 1 second longer, just 1 second longer.
Yep.
And that's a
Ooh,
nice
that's
hit.
what
I
we're
like
looking
to see
for.
that. That's some great crosshair placement by Central Florida, and now the Knights are off and running. They're moving all the way over
What?
towards C, and I like this play. Because not only is the Killjoy down, so all of that util is gone, but you get it on one of the toughest points to retake in Valorant. This is some smart thinking by the Knights.
Yeah, they are doing so much better this round. I mean, we saw Sniper with a flick that deserved the bonus. A nice plant into a tricky location because they know where they're coming from. They didn't just go default. They counted on the clock and found a site that would work for them in this retake. Retaking the castle. Storming the castle here is going to be a little bit difficult. Rebo watches his compadre go down as TN just can't hold it together. Rebo does find one, but he's low on health. Very close to finding another one. He does, but it's not enough. You've got to get every last one, and it's 1-1.
What did I tell you?
Interesting little upset. Do they take the Marshal in the next round? Looks like they'll be switching it out for a Guardian. Interesting.
Basically almost full rifles, and we actually see one rifle being bought by Ball State.
Yeah,
One of them is going for a Vandal out of the blue.
A little bit strange considering that everybody else's cred line starts with a 1. How did Rudy not afford an op there?
Blinded.
James just doesn't need it. I mean,
Maybe
you saw
just
how
doesn't
well
want
they
it.
did with handguns last round.
Yeah.
And they're getting off to a great start with the Vandals in this one. Sniper dislodging one of the Cardinals. There's now only one left on C. Scotty gets another TN falls. Pick up another Vandal, so now that one Guardian that they had, they won't have to worry about that anymore. They are all fully armed and moving in to claim C. They're forcing the Viper back past the smoke, moving around the corner, checking all the angles before they get the plant down. Oh,
no.
Nice prediction there by Ian. Huge shout out to him. That is great game sense.
Ping Spike, know your defaults. All the good bookkeeping and housekeeping will get you kills like that. And the spike plants in the last few seconds as attackers elim out the last couple players here. Bringing them up to 2 and 1, but not, again, not in typical fashion. And now it is an all Vandal round. Oh, no, I'm being thwarted at the last second as a few Phantoms are considering themselves. But it's low shields. I mean, we're scraping the barrel here for Ball State. They would love to find this one and dodge the hit to the economy.
This is the round I think we find out if anything's changed from round 1. Or are things gonna start? Well, Ball State gets off to a good start. TN and Rebo getting rid of 2 Knights. It's traded back though by Squirmer with a huge double clearing out C. Now the Omen has to get around before UCF has planted there, but has to deal with this Astra smoke. Huge play by Squirmer, getting a huge advantage, basically swinging the whole round back into the Knights' favor in one foul swoop. But the reinforcements have arrived from the Cardinals to take C, so they'll do a last-minute rotation. They have well, not really last minute because they have plenty of time left, so they'll move over toward A.
It is last minute, as 1 minute is on the clock, but you're right.
In the most literal sense of the word.
Which means plenty of time. Oh, and look at this. An interesting ultimate jump to spawn. I know when Omen debuted, that was all anyone would do, is just ult to spawn. It's a tricky one. Scotty doing well to hold things together, making it difficult for these last 2 players to work together, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Rebo does make a good trade in his favor, but it might not be enough as 1 player left on Ball State is now under the gun of time. And under Scotty's gun. Oh, just an unfortunate strafe there, stopping right when your shoulder's in line.
My priority is their suffering.
And now will be a for sure economy round forced on to Ball State. Central Florida running away with it up to 3-1. You were talking about the Omen teleport. Scotty was the one. Scotty might as well have teleported over there because he moved so far up into their spawn, took him completely off guard.
Yeah.
He didn't need the teleport. He was just that sneaky.
Just that guy. Look at this very, very, dare I say, aggressive defense coming right on up. TN making first contact. Choku and Rebo right behind them. Scotty is going to respect their space and let them fight first. That is not the way the clock is leaning right now, so he will let them run around if they want to take unnecessary risks. The rest of UCF hanging together right behind him. Seriously threatening a push on A now that they know A must be thin when you get a fake out from them like that. And it's going to pay off. The theory is important. Throwing in a snake bite. A little bit of a vision denial coming from the Omen. And is it a rotate towards B, perhaps? They'll have to deal with 1 or 2 players scurrying off of B while the other players come in from Ball State.
try to close in from all angles, coordinate a pinch. But right as they do that, the Knights move out of sight. They have a huge view of the spike and still manages to win despite missing the first Sheriff shot. It's down to 2 apiece, and Rudy comes through clutch with a double. Just 2 Cardinals left. Rudy trying to be here. And, I mean, the great thing here is they can stall this out till tomorrow. And while they're stalling, Scotty comes in, takes care of business. This also makes it where, you look at the composition that the Knights have, and it really is a composition that rewards a quick plant. Because you've got both the Killjoy and the Astra to be able to just stall out your defuse attempts. Not only that, but, I mean, you could also, if the Rays wanted to get very creative, we've seen the Satchel stall. I mean, there's just stall for days here.
Yeah, it is always nice to have the clock in your favor. And right now, the game is in some people's favor. I mean, it is 1-4, and it has been a slow roll up, but it has been a strong one. They didn't get that 3rd point like you'd expect them to. They, in fact, got the 2nd one, which means they took outside of their bonus and have been really fighting things off. So 4-1 is not a huge thing to say, but 4-1 considering that it was not taken in the orthodox order, that they kind of stole some points out of hand, it does mean a little bit more.
We're going to be ready to jump back into the match. This was a crucial time in Ascent when Ball State called a timeout at just about the same time, but it didn't turn things around. University of Central Florida continued on their winning streak, and things are turning out much the same way as they did in the last one. And as soon as I'm talking about how they're turning out the same way, Rebo was considering buying the judge again.
Oh, and they just might get something fun. A couple of Phantoms coming out, as well as 1 fun gun up top. Other than that, it looks like a pretty typical round 6 to C. They're going to be taking down the walls between A and B for quicker rotations and a lot more versatility on the defensive side, while we have a player on every avenue for UCF. And a few doubling up that push on a C, yep.
Has to give up a lot of ground in response. Bunch of smokes placed up through C. We're also hanging on to that Astrowall and Showstopper for the Knights. Snakebite just keeping them at bay for a few more seconds. And another Poison Orb will be thrown out. At this point, just trying to stall them out, and UCF is just waiting to see if they can find any peeks left or right. They've got no one lurking on A. But this Omen doesn't seem to be too aggressive in pushing up, so I don't see a flank coming out. They move in with the Showstopper, the double blast back. Just finds one around the corner and short range. I think that'll be enough to give them the green light to go charging in towards C. Throw out the bot through the Astrowall. And man, this is such a tough retake. The Astrowall up in that doorway as well. That's brutal.
But they clear well off the site. They're just going to wait for that ping to get them the value. They're not worried about anybody forcing through the Astrowall in an odd way. So Ball State's going to come in from the other side and clear things. Now that they own the territory. Oh, what shut down.
Goodness.
Sniper doing so well. Finds 2 before going down to Ian, who grabs the 2nd himself. So it's down to 3 and 2 with a little bit of a health difference and the territory difference as well. We haven't gotten a lot of ping on the spike, but now would be the chance. Ian flying out of there because there is no chance left. Squirmer doing much the same and might even catch him off in the hallway. Oh.
Might just find the exit frag. Wow.
Narrowly dodging the blast.
I mean, whatever complaints I had about crosshair placement for UCF have been completely eliminated. They are on point.
At least from Sniper doing excellently there. And look at the time difference in Sniper's frags and Ian's frags. You have to assume that Ian's doing well as well.
They did have a great defense with that door a little bit earlier on in the fight. When Rebo opened that door and just forced a lot of the Knights to turn around, it led to a little bit of an unexpected double that brought BSU back into the match. But
Squirmer now in the sight lines. A Marshal and a Guardian are on their team as well. UCF hopefully has a plan to make good value out of those.
Welcome to
A little bit offhand picks. Moving into the 7th point. Gonna get a B-site Viper Pit. Drop for this at UCF.
Claiming a bit of ground with that Viper's Pit to try to prevent the flank from the sky coming out, or at least the rotation. Works like a charm. Paint shells will force them off for a little bit, but now TN is taken out. There's only that Omen left, and UCF can get what's pretty much looking like a free plant and another free round.
Yeah, sure enough. I wouldn't want to be throwing away this Marshall as cheap as it is. Oh, a greedy shot onto the elbow is not going to be there when the high pen of Scotty's rifle can make it through the corner. So the Marshall goes down, and so does Omen. And it's 6 points against 1.
Look at
UCF.
all the credits,
Oh, yeah.
6,000 across the board.
Near 7.
Jason's the only one.
Oh, Jason. No, it's all right. They're all doing fantastic. But 7,000 credits.
Speaking about credits, Rebo has been saving them all up. Don't normally see Omen as a traditional opper, but Rebo is doing the best in terms of the KDA, so if he can reliably land picks and start things off with a 4-5, things could start switching over toward BSU.
It'll be tough, though, and it's a quick initial rotation to A, which is thinly guarded by a single KJ. A flash goes off in a distant wood, giving a little bit of info about potential rotations coming out as Scotty decides to lead the charge in by knocking down a little bit of utility. Oh, has to deal with the cabbages. A few make it past him. He's got a backpedal right out of there as the defender Killjoy drops down as well. And looking to flee just right out of A site. Not play any games with the defender Killjoy.
I mean, it's a great way of, they really adapted to that really fast, got the spike down on B and can now set up post plant. It's now down 4-4. They're trying to come in through the upper doorway on Heaven. Sniper eliminates that Viper, and Rebo's the next to fall. Scotty might have the possibility to pick up a double, maybe a collateral if their position wrong, but no, the high ground's going to work out in favor of Ball State. Can they defuse? It's just one left between them and a possible comeback. Dodge! Oh!
Not there. Successfully 180'd the flash, but really wanted to find that half before getting up for a little bit of combat. The timing was all at home advantage. So they go down and it's 1v7.
And another economy round forced onto them. That was, oh man, I was genuinely excited there. I wanted to see a close match here, but just having a lot of trouble, and I don't really know if, yeah, that's just rough. TN immediately getting a pick onto Scotty. It's a good start, but Sniper answers it back. They've got a huge gun advantage and a Killjoy too. Rudy eliminates TN, and they are charging on in. It looks like that Killjoy in B is only to prevent someone moving through there. It's more of a bait, if anything, as they move on to plant to A. Sniper has the opportunity for a great flank here. He can dislodge Ian. Might not even come down to that as Squirrel gets a pick onto Choku.
Yeah, Ian just standing above, taking one, and getting back out of there. Might just give him this one. 2 save. They may just consider it. I mean, unless Fraggleton wants to take a fight with Sniper. Oh, that's corner out of nowhere.
Completely wallbang. They immediately predicted that. No more time left. It looks to be just the save. We're at this point just going down to the spike to get the extra ult point.
Yeah, sure enough. Fraggleton taking the ult point might get them one step closer to another Venn diagram of doom. Sniper holding on to that ult as well, is going to full up on the utility and go for the Vandal like many of their teammates across the board, save for Rebo, who's been able to hold on to that op for quite a while.
Last chance if you want to try to remotely get this game back into a competitive state. You're going all in here on your purchases. Only 50 credits left for Rebo. Spending everything you can on this op. If you lose here, you go into another economy round that guarantees, with the way UCF's been playing, that probably guarantees at least a 10-1. And we saw just how well a scoreline like that worked out for St. Clair. Rebo gets a good first pick with that op, and Choku takes out Squirmore. There's only 3 left now for UCF. Can Ball State parlay this into a win? So desperately lead it they do, with a double coming out from TN. The Cardinals have found new life, and now there's just the spike holder, Rudy, left.
Yeah, it would be tough to let Rudy walk away with this one. Oh! He does find one. Oh, the strafe. That was hard to watch, but they do get in. Ian, barely. By the skin of his teeth, is going to find Rudy and bring them into a .2, which is important for the credit situation. They're going to be able to keep that op 1 and bring everybody back to triple digits on credits. Nice.
This was very well played by Ian, just completely on the wide peak. Completely swings out wide. No, he wasn't expecting that. He was in the mood of they were both going to pop around the corner and I head tap them both.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you want to do, is catch the other person off guard and it just embarrass them. So. Oh,
Showstopper in close quarters. Rebo has to get on out of there for dear life, trying to run, and will make it on out of there.
Yeah, barely saves the op, though. Not ever do you want to hear that voice line and see that person. Surprised he survived to tell the tale, at least for now.
That's a risky angle if Sniper wants to take that.
Oh, yeah, with an op, Rebo up top. That'd be a tough one for Sniper to go for.
But he'll take that one.
Yeah, and then goes sprinting right on out of there. And then a Viper's Pit, which was absolutely unprovoked on the other side of the map.
Dislodging that KJ it presents a beautiful opening on A and a good person advantage as well for Central Florida. Spike will go down, plenty of time, and it's tough because one of their players that's still around is Rebo with this op.
Yep.
I don't think he saves it this late in the game, but it's tough if you're peeking out into unknown corridors with a weapon that's just designed to hold him defensively.
Nice. Wow. I don't know how that got missed.
How did you not? How?
ADS and strafe to. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. That was a little bit weird.
Player standing.
Epic Gamer dude Ian is going to find one before going down, and it is a one-man save on the other side of the map, giving the attackers .9.
Last round in the half.
Yeah, it reminds me of
you had to turn right, so your eyes would have met. If we look at the basic geometry here, you're turning right. He's standing right there in the open.
No, it reminds me of a CS:GO clip where one person is ADSing and they strafe over and look at the top of the stairs, and the other person's doing a similar thing and walks right underneath them because they're in their crouch
I
peak.
never thought standing out in the open would be the ultimate stealth move, but to quote Sherlock Holmes, it's so overt, it's covert.
Yeah, hiding in plain sight, as long as you've got the longest gun in the game. Well, you can get away from it.
Talking about the longest gun in the game, a bit of a shot through the door, swinging out. And now a concerted push up towards A under the cover of the Viper wall. It's been a point that served UCF well, and that 10-2 scoreline is so strong if they pull out the win here, and this is going to be really tough on the retake with this Viper's Pit being pushed down. Just hang out in there. They've evened it up. Rudy with a nice pick onto Fraggleton. Tough retake again with Rebo on this op and gets taken out mid-reload too. Showstopper out, but the question is, where do you aim here? Gonna move in, probably just try to take it on point, maybe try to get face to face, gets the gas toward tree, but this guy is able to dodge it. Right, excuse me, there's no one hanging out there.
Ooh.
And Jay trade back 1-1, and it's just gonna be the...
Also the snake bite under...
Yep, you just use the health advantage that you have.
Switching sides.
And at the half, 2 and 10. It rings a bell.
Placing sentry.
Rolling right on in. It looks like they're not going to exhaust the credits this time, but save on shields. Most everybody will.
And have a little bit of a pileup. I mean, everything is really kind of bunched up for Ball State. They're all kind of doing about the same in KDA. Sniper's really the one who's trying to... Sniper's really the one who is able to stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Bit of an early
Yeah.
peek out through the mound.
What a
Not gonna spot
standoff.
each other.
Going up.
Yeah.
All of UCF just hanging out in A short. Well, A, but they're not
If
going to
they clear
find
out
very
the Viper, I
much.
think it's a quick rotation over towards C.
Yeah, I mean, definitely so, but it looks like that's not quite happening. This first contact is finally going to come out on C, but they're already king of the hill. This Viper is just playing games with them, a little bit of left, right, but they're going to send over anyways because the pressure on A from UCF was just too strong. So the Cardinals are making their way down to C. The Citadel of sight. Scotty can't get around a flash. They're just kind of stuck with not a lot of information. People are at home, though. The call's coming from inside the house. He's going to make it one. Oh, and from above. What is he doing? This man ran all the way home. 3 kills, 2 were upward. He fought uphill and found 2. From a distance, Squirmer falls. Wow. After 3 shots.
Now you have the gun advantage you can take into the next round. If that's a free round given over to you, you're going to go to match point going into your bonus. And
That's true.
any team is going to love that situation.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
This was insane the way Scotty just popped off here.
Yeah, this was a little bit ridiculous. He ignored the 3 people who were behind him and started
what was that
leaving the
Omen
site to
looking
take
at?
one.
He was looking.
I don't know. Yeah, doors were behind him.
Yeah, the doors were to his right. The archway was to his left, and he was looking straight on at the wall.
Just admiring the
Maybe
view.
he was really focused on getting that one wall bang that you could possibly get there, was waiting for footsteps. I have no idea.
Out from the crate, he was looking, yeah, because he was looking north. There's nothing there.
Oh, my goodness, that's a brutal judge shot. Seems like Central Florida is just cruising on in to claim their crown. Ian going to try to bring out the judge to bring this back, but just caught too long range.
That's never enough at being mid-air and moving. 2 shots, don't even find it. Fraggleton. Oh, it was right there too. Scotty just wins on Peeker's advantage, getting to hang back and find it. 2 defense still from UCF. Staying strong on A is going to make this push very difficult for TN as he's drilled right through the wall. UCF takes that, round 12.
Now it's just a few stingers, 1 bulldog, maybe a Bucky to bring it back. Talking about so much about the judge, but that's going over to Jason to close it out.
It's true. They're going to have some relatively strong guns, and by relatively strong, I mean a single AR.
I mean, I'll take that over, a stinger any day, so.
Yeah. No, Stinger Meta's alive and well.
Meta never changed. Everyone else changed.
Ooh,
Wow,
TN really asking
Omen
for it.
by,
So
but that's
close. There it is.
down
Ow.
and just calm, cool, and collected. Sniper delivers in A with a double. Make it a triple. Oh my goodness. If Sniper continues picking it up, could you end it with an ace? Can you get it? You got to kind of give Sniper the ace to win it. Oh, he falls at the very end, but it's not going to matter. Central Florida will win it 2-0 and claim the Open Division title. But I have to hand it to Central Florida. Big props to them for also allowing him to move in, because if he ended it with an ace, I mean,
Yeah.
what a way to end your season and claim the championship.
That was impressive. We had a flash finish there. You never want an anticlimactic ending. I'm glad that we got what we deserved on that one. And it was a good game overall, though it was hard fought and well earned.
Sniper, the real.
Oh, yeah,
hero
look
here.
at that. Near 20 on a game that lasted this long is pretty impressive.
Also, big props to Scotty. Had that great classic play there, too, at the beginning of the second half.
Yeah, that's very true. And I mean, we saw that scramble in the last round beforehand where he took 3 out of nowhere, including one poor man that was still facing north. There's been some wild clips coming out of this one.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree to that, and we'll probably see a few of those clips right now, because we got the top 5 plays of the game brought to you by Mavics Gaming Chairs. Mavics, feel the difference. Let's take a look back at the championship match for the Open Division. Congratulations to Central Florida. Or I suppose it's
Ball State playing against the Knights.
UCF versus Ball State, Cardinals versus Knights. Cardinals need to have a huge view of the spike and still manages to win despite missing the first sheriff shot. It's down to 2 apiece, and Rudy going to want to push over to A, then they're going to throw smoke down in mid and then rotate over through Gardens for a coordinated push. Starting to try to fish out someone from mid-market. Problem is, this Jet is waiting right around the corner, but looking the wrong way, and TN punishes that severely.
Amidst the smoke as well. I'm strong. So the Cardinals are making their way down to C. The Citadel of sight. Scotty can't get around a flash. He's kind of stuck with not a lot of information. People are at home, though. The call's coming from inside the house. He's going to make it one. Oh, and from above. What is he doing? This man ran. Ooh, TN really asking for it. So close. There it is.
Down
Ow.
and just calm, cool, and collected. Sniper delivers in A with a double. Make it a triple. Oh my goodness! If Sniper continues picking it up, could you end it with an ace? Can you get it? You got to kind of give Sniper the ace to win it. No, he falls.
Looking to bring the spike up in the expected manner while sending a player through, looking for a little bit of a pinch on the catwalk into tree.
30 seconds left.
Ooh, that push through the door is respected, and the Squirmer from the top is going to have to do something about it. Jason going crazy.
Oh my goodness!
That was ridiculous.
Welcome back to the NACE Star League studio, and we currently have Rudy from University of Central Florida, now the champions in the Open Division, to talk about the game that was just played. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, hello. How's
Now,
everything going?
It's going great, and I'm sure very good for you as well. And before we get into talking about this game, the first question is actually about the semis that you had, the semifinals that you went up against Winthrop. You two were neck and neck through that. Tell us a little bit about how that match went and how ultimately your team pulled off your victory in what was a very competitive match for the semis.
Nah, Winthrop was a pretty fun match. We were playing back-to-back games that day, and so we were really amped up. Really well practiced by the time we got to game time, and like really on our ball. We got to play around a lot of maps that we really liked. We had our good IGL Jason making some really nice calls around there. I don't know, we just played our games in the semifinals and things came out for us. I think our just practice was really showing there and we pulled up.
Yeah, it sounds like you're placing a lot of weight onto getting in and getting some practice and having a good second game. Is that what happened today? I'll be honest, the mechanics were a lot cleaner in the second map than they were in the first map. Can you tell us more about that?
I think our biggest enemies are ourselves, you know. We were just going like in our own comms, you know, going back and forth a little bit in the first map. I think we got a little banter. And the second map, you know, we were feeling ourselves. I don't think they had as good as a grasp on the map. Shen, you can sort of pug it out, do whatever you want. Lotus, it seemed didn't go as well trying that method. And I think our little like strats, protocols, etc., stuff like that really proved to be a lot better.
Well, now you've got a winter break to look forward to with a championship under your belt. So I got to ask, you planning on doing anything special or anything the team does for winter? We asked during the last match, does the team do anything? Do you keep on scrimming during the winter break or do you take a little bit of a breather? What's on the docket for the next few weeks?
We're definitely taking a breather because we have had to play like a ton because of playoffs and because we wanted to scrim and feel practice and just make sure we have like all of our faults figured out. Me and the boys, we always go to Miller's after big wins, so sometime during the winter, we're probably going to end up at Miller's eating a mountain mount. I don't know. I don't know what the boys got going on. I'm just chilling for winter, me personally.
Well, to all of you and the rest of the boys, congratulations on your victory. And thank you for the cameo. We very much appreciate that. We all know who the trophy's really going to now at the end. So thank
He was the
you
one
so
who was
much
playing
for
the whole
joining us.
time. All right.
Congrats on your win. All right, that's going to wrap it up for the NACE 2023 Fall Valorant season. Thank you so much, Greg, for joining me throughout all these games. Thank you for joining us, and an extra special thank you to all of our sponsors helping bring NACE Star League to you. Extra Live, Duncan, Pizza Hut, Alienware, Odyssey, Mushroom Elixir, Monster Energy, Army ROTC, Mavics Gaming Chairs, and as you're seeing right now, the LA Comic-Con, which is providing an expansive and exciting gaming, esports, and anime experience this weekend in the West Hall of the LA Convention Center, December 1st through 3rd. Your pass gets you access to gaming stage tournaments, stream studio your favorite streamers, free play zone with the hottest PC and console games, and the mix with over 10 indie games and devs on site. Use the promo code LEVELUP for $5 off a gaming pass. And that'll just about wrap it up for tonight. And not only is the LA Comic-Con happening this weekend, but of course, the NACE Star League Grand Finals. And you're going to want to definitely tune in for that. December 2nd and 3rd, streaming to you live from the Boise State Esports Arena. Teams from all over the nation, even internationally, with St. Clair joining us from Canada. It's going to be a match night that you are not going to want to miss. So we'll join you back there. But for now, thank you for watching. We hope you have a good night. We'll see you next time. Going to want to push over to A, then they're going to throw smoke down in mid and then rotate over through gardens for a coordinated push. Starting to try to fish out someone from mid-market. Problem is this Jet is waiting right around the corner, but looking the wrong way, and TN punishes that severely.
Amidst the smoke as well. I ain't looking to bring the spike up. in the expected manner while sending a player through, looking for a little bit of a pinch on the catwalk into tree.
30 seconds left.
Ooh, that push through the door is respected, and the Squirmer from the top is going to have to do something about it. Jason going crazy.
My goodness!
That was ridiculous. Of the map, at least, as Choku is holding people at bay here, just being threatening every once in a while, and Scotty unwavering on this angle. Exactly when you look away is always
that
when they're
rule
there.
of thumbs.
Yep.
Keep it for 1 second longer. Just 1 second longer.
Yep.
And that's a
Ooh,
nice
that's what
hit. I
we're
like
looking
to see
for.
that. That's. They try to close in from all angles, coordinate a pinch, but right as they do that, the Knights move out of sight. They have a huge view of the spike and still manages to win despite missing the first Sheriff shot. It's down to 2 apiece, and Rudy comes.
Wow. I don't know how that got missed.
How did you not? How?
ADS and strafe to. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. That was a little bit.
I'm Ryan Pruitt. I'm a sophomore at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. I'm a full-time college student, a future nurse, a small business owner, and a cadet in the U.S. Army ROTC. I'm the son of an Army officer, so I know the opportunities the Army provides. I knew the ROTC scholarship was the right choice for me to pay for the college that I wanted to go to. More than the money, I have people who are encouraging and committed to my success. I have big goals, and the Army is helping me make them a reality. I'm future 2nd Lieutenant Ryan Pruitt. That's my ROTC story. What will yours be?